Hey, what's up, listener? Thank you for pressing play. This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we're getting tiny and heading into the quantum realm for our full spoiler review of the latest entry into the MCU, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Geek Boner.
Plus, we got a little G-Fest preview for you, voicemails, and a whole bunch more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Friday, July 6th, 2018.
Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. Be shocking, be nerded. Be funny, disturbing. Be shocking, be nerded. Be spoiler alert. Oh yeah. Be shocking, be nerded. Be funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. Be shocking, be nerded. Be spoiler alert.
That's right. What's up? Hello, listener, and welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast.
Jock and Nerd.
This is where you get your weekly geek fix of comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the Nerd.
And he is the Rug Boy. What's up, Felty American? How's you felting?
Am I felting? I'm felting my balls right now.
You're
Thinking of you.
How's your felt of July?
Oh, did you have a good felt of July?
Yes, I did. We don't light fireworks
Yeah,
because we
I bet.
catch on fire a lot. We're very
What
flammable.
about Feltaworks?
I can't. Is there Feltaworks? I can't imagine fireworks.
Feltaworks? It's like, you know when you get those like little champagne bottles, those miniature ones, and you pop them, it's like fake confetti? That's what we do.
That's like
we just do that for days.
I hear puppets do that at like
Bang snaps.
Yeah, but yeah, you do that at the cemetery during a wake, like you
It's just
for
so fucking
fallen
sad.
puppets.
Yeah, it's like... We can't even do fireworks. We have to have like a lame version of that, like some kind of paper version of that.
Yo, there's a PSA: puppets and fireworks don't mix. Listener, if you're a new listener, thanks for checking us out. Make sure you visit our website, jockandnerd.com, because you will find everything there. Links to everything we talk about can be found at the show notes for this episode, jockandnerd.com/228. And while you've seen the title, we're going to dive right into the latest MCU movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, full spoiler review. But before we do, I have to make one programming sound engineering note for our regular listeners. If it sounds a little different, well, I am in my new studio, everyone.
Oh, shit. Jock and Nerd.
Yeah, Imran's a homo nerd.
I'm a homo nerd.
Somebody touch my spaghetti!
That is my favorite homeowner joke. It's so dumb, but
It's so weird seeing you in person right now, Imran.
And not only that, we are doing this old school. Anthony is in the room. He's christening the new studio. This room is twice as big as what I used to have. So in that end, we are all drinking. We're all drinking the
What
show.
made you appear, Anthony?
I've been drinking a little bit.
Oh.
And
You're like, fuck it, I'm going to Imran's house?
I was like, fuck it, I want to see this motherfucker's house. I'm going to his house today.
Plus, you would have to have passed my house from where you were going to get to your parents' house to record.
For the listener that doesn't know, I have to record at my parents' house every time we do this show.
This is a millennial without a laptop.
Because I don't own a laptop,
Yeah.
yes. So this is actually closer to where I had to go, or where I was coming from, so this made it a little more convenient, and
I'm
I get
glad
to see
you
this
came.
motherfucker's house.
Yeah, I want to have visitors. I want to show off. We don't have nearly enough furniture, so I will fine tune the soundproofing in this room, listener. Don't worry, it'll be listenable enough. Enough of that bullshit. Let's get to the review, everybody.
The Jock and Nerd podcast.
I'm very excited, and of course, we got to issue our spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
If you have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, we're turning this around pretty quickly. Go watch the movie, pause the podcast, jump to the end, check the show notes. There'll be other things we
This
talk
is about as quick as it gets without having a pre-screen thing.
Oh
because
my
we're
God.
media.
Yeah, I wish it was.
My shit is not going to be eloquent today at all.
Anthony's he's been off.
Join the party.
He's been on 4th of July vacation break for like the last 3 days.
Yeah, it's been off.
Hasn't been to work since Tuesday.
A little bit of a bender.
It's all right. It's going to be a nice loose review. And
For a loose movie.
For a very loose movie, we got beers. I got a nice IPA, Wobble India IPA from
Two brothers. Artisan Brewing.
It's very artesian. Anyways, guys, here it is, dude. 10 years, 20 movies, The third MCU movie of the year. This is unprecedented. Name me any other fucking movie franchise that has done this. 20 interconnected fucking movies in 10 years. Like, let's just stop and think about how amazing what they've done, what Kevin Feige's done, and it'll probably never be replicated.
I'm trying to think if Godzilla did this.
No, not 20 in 10 years.
And not this interconnected where everything, it's a chapter of an awesome trade paperback. So Ant-Man and the Wasp, the 20th chapter in this long-ass story.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to apologize right away for the Patreon listeners. I never gave an instant reaction.
Well, that's okay. I did mine quick because we're turning this around so fast. I figure, like, whatever. It's fine. And Ruggs never sends me a fucking thing. No, you do. I'm sorry. You do, Ruggs. Sometimes.
Every once in a while. You told me not to.
I did. I was like, don't worry about it.
I was going to do it.
We're turning this around so quick.
He's like, we're going to do it the next day. What's the point?
Let's establish these characters a little bit. All these characters, of course, created by Marvel Comics. Hank Pym Ant-Man, first appearance, Tales to Astonish, 35, in September of 1962. Created by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, Jack Kirby. Original Avenger, OG.
Right.
Janet Van Dyne, first appearance, June 1963. Same book, Tales to Astonish, number 44. Also created by Stan Lee, Ernie Hart, and Jack Kirby. And Scott Lang first appeared on the scene in 1979 in the Avengers 181. And he was created by David Michelinie, John Byrne. Lots of great creators, great names. I mean, honestly, for the first time now, we have all the original Avengers on screen in the MCU. Think about that.
Oh, because you're thinking about the Wasp?
Yes, the Wasp was another OG original Avenger, and she finally gets to be the Wasp, and it's awesome. Rotten Tomatoes. Let's see where this thing is sitting at now. Once the movies come out, 87% tomato meter, 7 out of 10 average rating.
What about that audience score?
79%. Kind of a lower hit on the audience score, but
That's still
it averages out, I guess. You know, that's about where the movie should be. Box office wise, since literally it's Friday,
so we're not going to have much. Right?
July 6th, when the movie came out, we all saw it on the preview Thursday. Not much. Box Office Mojo has nothing, but I know this. It made $11 million in Thursday previews, which is more than Doctor Strange and Guardians of the Galaxy that they made on their Thursday. So I remember, Anthony, you told me the first movie opened at $55 million. We were guesstimating like $85 million. Guardians opened at Doctor Strange opened up at 85, and I think Guardians opened at 94.3.
I think the last projections I saw was this was going to be close to $100 million.
This could be $100 million movie. The second movie opens to double what the first one does, and you know it's the hype, it's the trust in the brand, it's the storyline,
it's everything. It's all the good equity they've built.
It's all the good equity. It's more people getting pulled in. So they've already made like $5-6 billion at the box office. If this is an unexpected hit, it's just fucking more money in the bank.
I think if the number is, if they make $600 million, this is going to be a $4 billion year for Marvel.
Jesus, that's crazy. And here's the craziest thing: because of the World Cup, it hasn't even opened in the UK and won't until August 3rd.
Oh shit!
Almost a month away.
That's smart though.
Hey, Kevin Halden, Chris Richardson,
Malofsky, Scott Meridew.
Yeah.
So
just them two. Suck it.
I feel bad for our UK listeners.
Not even Chris Richardson. Kevin Halden.
Just
Suck
Halden?
it.
Yeah. Chris is cool.
Chris is cool.
Look, if you are a listener in the UK, we apologize. We're going to spoil this movie. You might want to put this one aside for a month. And
Why are you listening to this if you're going to be spoiled?
That's a good point.
You're a moron. Like, unless you really want to be spoiled, you shouldn't have turned this on.
Wait.
They just can't resist listening to us, Anthony.
That's true.
That's right.
They want to hear what you have to say.
That's true.
Spoilers be damned. I want to hear what the jock.
Bro, do you even podcast?
He does sometimes in person. So what I wanted to do, I want to do quick box office updates on the movies we reviewed so far this year.
Go for it.
Black Panther is sitting at $699 million domestically, $1.3 billion worldwide. Not too bad. Avengers Infinity War, $673 million. Has not surpassed the domestic total of Black Panther, but it's made $2.03 billion worldwide. So there, right there, is over $3 billion.
Wow.
Deadpool 2, R-rated, smaller budget, $312 million domestic. That's very good. $721 million worldwide. That's not bad for the Deadpool. Here's where it takes a sharp dip. Solo.
Oh, no.
The Star Wars story. $209 million domestically. $371 million worldwide.
Really?
Yeah. So far, it's only
Did it
made.
open anywhere?
I don't know. It opened in places. China doesn't like it. They don't give a fuck. Remember, we went over this. Now, here's the craziest number. The movie we last reviewed most recently, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, it's at $297 million domestically, all right?
Okay.
This thing opened early in the UK, also because of the World Cup. It today just fucking crossed $1 billion.
Oh, shit.
Worldwide.
Holy shit.
Which means we're going to get 3 to 5 more of these big dumbass goddamn Jurassic World movies.
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
How many times are you going to make the same mistake with the dinos?
They're going to keep doing these movies forever.
They clearly make shit tons of money. Why wouldn't they? So Ant-Man and the Wasp creative team, this is the one directed by Peyton Reed. It was
Actually directed by Peyton Reed.
fully directed from beginning to end, not finished.
No one talking about Edgar Wright this time around.
Yeah, nothing that he had to finish from Edgar Wright. Written by Chris McKenna, Eric Summers, Paul Rudd also on the writing team, which I think he helped with the first one. And you got returning, of course, Scott Lang as Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly as a Hope, Michael Pena, Bobby Cannavale, T.I. Was T.I. in the first one?
He was.
Yep.
He was, right? David Dastmalchian as Kurt, and Randall Park was Jimmy Woo, I think. And then new to the cast, of course, Walton Goggins, Michelle Pfeiffer, Lawrence Fishburne.
My favorite line in the first film is when he's like, "We broke into your spooky ass house." He's like, "I let you," Michael Douglas, and then T.I. goes, "How about I let you let me?"
There's a lot of good chemistry in this one too, man. The chemistry is great. With that, let's just get our opening thoughts out of the way. Who wants to start? Anthony, you're the guest in my house.
I'm the guest now
No, you're the
on my
guest.
own fucking show.
You're the guest in your own fucking podcast. Somebody's got to be a guest. Okay, you're the co-host.
All right,
you just
all right.
start.
All
Opening
right.
thoughts as we do. What'd you think? Walking out.
Walking out, I mean, I was like, this is solid. I wasn't like overly impressed. I wasn't upset. I think it's just the nature of this, what they're kind of going for, where you can't really be. No one's favorite character is Ant-Man. First off, so
Some people is.
maybe some people,
There
but
are some-
most people are like, Ant-Man. So it's not like I have this huge affinity for the character, so they can do whatever the fuck they want with this guy, and I really won't care. So overall, I was like, this is pretty solid. It's your little palate cleanser. I'm sure everyone's saying that in their fucking review, that it's a palate cleanser. For me, I enjoyed the film. I had fun with the film. The only drawback for me is after Avengers Infinity War, honestly, I don't really want to see anything else but something on
The
that
resolution
level. Yeah,
to
at
Avengers
this point,
Infinity
it's just like, I'm excited for Captain Marvel, but this movie was just, it's by when you get to the stakes of Infinity War, anything that's going to come after it that's not at that level is just going to be like
is this like a filler episode?
it's just
of the
like
MCU?
it's more like it's not like it's kind of like a filler episode, or it's like one of those where it's just like hold your horses, take your time. We're buying a little time here. Yeah, like a filler episode. That's a good point, actually.
Interesting. Okay, there are.
But it was fun. I mean, it wasn't a bad filler episode,
Right.
but it's filler.
Right. I mean, Marvel has not made a bad movie, and there are people who think Ant-Man is like the best movie out of the MCU. There are people whose Ant-Man is the favorite movie out of the MCU.
I would question your taste, but okay.
They're
Yeah.
out there. Rugs, what's your opening thoughts walking out of the movie? What was going through your cotton head?
I feel like that Ant-Man is the new and improved maxi pad of Ant-Man movies. It's
Oh,
they,
shit.
They padded it out a little bit, they give it more padding, and they gave it wings.
It's super absorbent.
yeah. So
That is an amazing analogy, my
Yeah.
friend. Right there, that gets you points.
like that really it took you a while to hit that button. I don't know what
yeah,
happened.
sorry.
He's been drinking.
What else am I gonna say? Look. Did I enjoy myself while watching this movie? Yes, it's an enjoyable movie, just like Thor Ragnarok was enjoyable.
Yeah.
They did lean on the comedy a lot, which is you expect in an Ant-Man movie, and it's fine because that character's always been that way.
Yeah.
So I had fun. Is it forgettable? Am I going to be going back to this movie over and over again? I don't know, but I did have fun watching it. I thought it was competent. It was a competent film.
Actually,
Okay.
let me bring up one thing.
Yeah.
But before I get your thoughts, that's
Yeah.
a good point. That he's like, would I go back and watch it? And it's like, this is one of the first MCU films where I'm like, I'm probably going to go back and watch it, but I'm like, I don't really need to go back and watch it. Like, there's nothing extra there that I missed. There's no like inner like plot, subplot that's like they're hinting at different themes or something like bigger. It's just like, What you saw was what you get right there.
Exactly. No, I'll agree. It's very straightforward.
Right.
I had a lot of fun with this movie, watching the movie, the same amount of fun kind of I had with the first movie. And I knew we're going in, it's going to be a light, refreshing thing. I think a movie like this really highlights the variety of movies the MCU can make really well. And as far as the character, Ant-Man is the character that kind of encompasses a lot of what makes Marvel Comics great. You know, it's quirky, it's weird, it's got a lot of heart, it's fun, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's almost like a perfect little mini comic book read, but that also kind of does make it a little bit forgettable. Maybe, you know, it suffered in some of the plots and the story, and maybe the stakes weren't there. But I loved how they still kind of tried it. It's separate from what's going on in Infinity War, which I really appreciated that. And then they threw in that little tie at the end to make it tie in. But I mean, the cast is amazing. The chemistry of these performances to me is why I wanted to go see this movie. Just Michael Pena, Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas hanging out and riffing is great. Like, they're so good. And that's Mulchin and T.I. Like, I just want to see them hang out in a room and tell stories, you know. So, fun movie. Before we get into the meat and potatoes, I want to encourage the listener to join our awesome Facebook group. It's a closed group just for our listeners. It's called the Jock and Nerd Nation. You can let us know what you thought. You can leave us a review. There is a spoiler thread going right now. Check the show notes for the link. I got to welcome a couple of new members. Corey Beck. We got another Beck. That's 3 Becks. The entire Beck family.
Wasn't there a band called Beck?
Yeah. Welcome in all the Becks. What?
Wasn't there a band called Beck?
Well, there's Beck, yeah. But there's a guy.
That was
a guy.
an awful band, right?
No, Beck's great,
No,
dude.
they were awesome. Come on.
Fucking Beck. Beck is the dude, Beck. You don't remember Beck?
I know.
His name is Beck.
It was just a guy.
It's a guy who makes all the music. Beck. He has a
was
band.
good?
Drunk
Beck.
Anthony.
I fucking love Beck. You don't remember I'm a loser? I'm a loser, baby. Why don't you hear me? All that shit. Fucking Beck was great.
I didn't like that music.
Goddamn millennials.
Of course.
Anyways,
There's
Dave,
someone actually playing it. That's why.
it's not a CD. There's no buttons.
There's nobody
It's
just
terrible.
pressing a button.
There's no loops
Bad
on
music.
repeat. Also,
No one
David
remembers
Rosell.
Beck.
Welcome, David Rosell. Look, this is a good time to join the Facebook group, Anthony. I'm sure you're loving this. Now with 30% more Jock Talk.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What is going on? I don't even. It's like I built this home, and I don't know what's going on in my house.
We've taken over.
That's fine. The Jocks always do. The nerds built it, and the fucking Jocks take it over.
Don't put Jock and Nerd in the title and then
That's a good point.
not expect some Jock Talk. I'm thrilled that it's a multi genre forum.
I'm glad. I'm so happy to see everyone just like hanging out and talking sports, and I'm like, that's fine. I'll just scroll
There's
past
different
this
threads,
one.
yeah.
It's fine. This is a safe space for jocks and nerds,
Yeah.
freaks and geeks. Join the fan club, Rubs. I also love that post about most accomplished movies in each genre segment. There's like an episode. We got to do something. We got to do like a bracket.
I just
thing.
updated it with my thoughts.
So we either need to do like a weekly
I
bracket.
think it's a
thing
week.
and
I think
vote
you do.
down.
I think you do a weekly segment on the show.
Blake Braden, somebody in the nation, figure this out.
Well, we
Let
know,
us
but
how
I'm
you do.
I'm sure the nation would want to hear us like weekly. You pick a question,
Yeah.
and then us 3 answer it, and then we defend it.
Oh, or I was thinking you take all the votes of the nation's picks of each category, and we vote on the one that should be the best one.
Who's gonna do that? All that work.
That's a lot more
Me, you motherfuckers. It's a lot of work. Anyways, back to Ant-Man and the Wasp. Let's. Where do you want to start? Like you said, Anthony, it's a very straightforward movie. Initially, I was like, there's not really a lot of meat there to talk about.
Well, everything's kind of like on the surface.
It is.
You can't really dig too deep with this movie. It doesn't really go on multiple layers. It's just one layer. But the whole point of this movie is to get you to enjoy the character that is Scott Lang, to introduce you to the Wasp. I got a burp.
Nice.
Should we leave that in?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm drinking beer.
Look,
Lazy burp.
I like finding out what Scott and them were doing during Infinity War, between Civil War and Infinity War. They had the one line where he was on house arrest, but we actually see what he's been doing during house arrest, and it's very boring trying to keep yourself busy building ant forts out of boxes. And I love seeing the original Ant-Man and the Wasp in the beginning. Again, something they hinted at in the first movie was them deactivating the bomb, the missile, and you actually see Janet Van Dyne shrink down so small that she gets stuck in the quantum realm.
Right.
It's very cool. What'd you guys think of the humor this time around?
I saw it with a friend. She didn't crack up all that much.
Yeah.
I was cracking up.
I was cracking up, but there was some good laughs.
I mean, Lewis retelling the story was funny for me. There's some clever stuff. I mean, it wasn't like I was dying, like my stomach was hurting laughing, but there's some clever stuff in there.
The truth serum jokes are pretty funny.
Yeah.
Truth Serum was great. I love seeing a brown guy as like a bad guy terrorist. I was like, Usman, brother, yeah, represent. The bad guy. He's like, it's not a truth serum. It is a truth serum. One of the funniest moments for me has to be the school heist where the thing isn't working and he's stuck at half size.
Oh, that was funny.
Holy shit, that was hilarious.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot too, but I wish that they would have like figured that out like after, because like Scott Lang was like a bumbling idiot in this movie.
Yeah.
He had none of the skills or any of the things that he had in the previous movie where he was like doing parkour ninja shit.
Yeah.
And to top it off, his suit sucked. So they did all this obviously to give Hope Van Dyne like the center
role.
stage
Yeah.
and do all the action. But I was like, you gonna have this shitty suit the whole movie?
Look, I mean, she's billed. She gets top billing now. Like she's in the title of the movie. I thought the Wasp role was great. I thought Evangeline Lilly did a great job. Her fighting she's pretty badass.
So the whole movie was built around the Wasp should have been the hero in the first run.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's what they were trying to prove.
Yeah, you're like, Scott Lang's a fuck
Well,
up.
because even the first one, it was like, wait, why don't you just choose Wasp?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just choose Hope? That was the whole,
Right.
like, he's like, well, I mean, the only reason that Hank doesn't do it is because he's like, well, it's my daughter.
He's
I don't
trying to
wanna lose
protect her.
Right. But the whole time, it's like, Hope's the real hero. So
Well-
this is the movie where it's like, well, Hope is the
Pip
hero.
doesn't want her in the suit anyway
Right.
until the end for some reason.
Well, he doesn't want her in the suit because apparently it makes you go crazy, or you can get like you can go in the quantum realm, and
if you get in the quantum realm, it messes with your
I
head.
think maybe since Scott came back from the quantum realm,
change things.
he changed his mind about it. Yeah.
I was thinking about this movie, and like the first one is all built around this heist, and the second one, it's not necessarily a heist. It's more of like a race against time. Sort of feel.
So they do the thing where they're playing hot potato, and there's a ticking clock.
There's a lot of we're gonna steal this tech that you really don't understand, and we're gonna move it to another spot. We're
gonna steal this tech so we can't help you, even though we want to help you. That's the main bad guy.
Yeah, pretty much. But
like we can totally help you. You don't have to steal anything. We work together. Nope. We're gonna.
We want to steal it. So I would call it like an action comedy. It's like an action. It was like an action comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
more
like
than a
that's
heist
the
movie.
genre, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like the it's like a race. The whole thing is just a race.
Yeah, and so
because there's no bad, like the bad guy in this film isn't really even a bad guy.
But, yeah, there is
she's more of just a nuisance to the story. Like it's like whenever the story, like you're in a safe spot, she shows up.
Ghost shows up to fuck things up, and like you don't know if she's been watching. I loved the way Ghost looked. I love her phasing powers. Hannah John Kamen has like an amazing presence on screen. Like you can read her face.
Does she have an amazing presence because she has a British accent?
That also, it doesn't hurt.
It helps.
It doesn't hurt, but we probably could have used a little bit more about her because
I feel like there's a lot cut out of this movie.
Did we really care about her and her? And,
well,
and
apparently
her
her dad is Egghead in the comics.
Yeah, that's a big Easter egg. They name drop Elias Starr.
Yeah,
and that's Egghead. Elias Starr is Ava's father, and he's also known as Egghead. But Egghead is dead, clearly.
Well, my friend that was with me was like, and I tried to like explain it. I tried to like justify it, but I was like, yeah, you might be right. She's like, why is this lady so mean? The girl.
Oh yeah.
The Violet Ghost.
Why is she so pissed off?
Why is she like?
Yeah.
I know she's dying, but she doesn't need to be so ruthless.
Yeah, she just doesn't give a fuck. She's not willing to listen to anyone when they could probably help her without doing all this horse shit.
And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. Like if someone would just be like, relax.
Yeah.
We got you.
We got this. What's the plan?
We let us do this and you'll be fine.
There was a couple moments like that.
There was two things that was hard to swallow for me as far as tropes. Number one is that for some unexplained reason, which they never got into, Ghost had to drain the energy from Janet Van Dyne
to survive, which would probably kill her.
Which made no sense. There was no explanation for it or whatever.
That was just, it was just like, this is why she's evil.
Yeah, it's a plot device.
Right.
Number two, the whole stars are in alignment bullshit. Like, we'll never be able to do this for the 75 years. Like, that's way too convenient.
That is very contrived.
And they could have written a better reason why. Like, maybe the machine's going to break down. maybe we could only do it once.
That was the reason for the ticking clock, which they really didn't need.
Yeah, that actually brings up, that's like one of my main problems with this film. And I enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
One of my main problems is there's so much science mumbo jumbo in this that doesn't make any sense. Like
It's meaningless, yeah.
It's all like
Yeah.
meaningless words and
Yeah.
things thrown out there, like we're quantum entanglement.
Dude, how many-
And it's just like, wait, what? I can't, like, you're throwing so much science at me that doesn't make any goddamn sense to the layman here that, like, none of this makes sense.
If you drink every time they said quantum, you'd be fucked up by the
Yeah,
end of
they
this
do
movie.
say it a lot.
They
But
say
they
it a
addressed
lot.
it. They
Yeah.
addressed it in the movie, made a joke out of it.
He's like, do you
But,
guys just say quantum in front of words and when you talk?
But like, it felt like in this movie, everything that was of note that needed to be explained, they explained with garbage science.
Yeah, it's a
Maybe
little
Adam Morris
garbage-y.
is not. Maybe Adam Morris is hearing this and being like, "That's not garbage science." But for someone that doesn't know anything,
Yeah. It
garbage
sounds
science.
kind of
Well,
mumbo
that's James
jumbo.
Cameron's big point is that they have science fiction, but they really don't get into anything.
Into
They
the
just kind of
science
use it as
anymore.
an excuse. Yeah. So besides that, I mean, it's a surface movie. What are you going to do? You're not going to get into the whole quantum mechanics and why there's entanglement and all that other shit, if that's even possible.
I mean, quantum physics is a hard thing to grasp for fucking scientists alone. So, like,
Right.
how are you going to explain it to the mass audience? You got to fucking dumb it down.
Right.
Speaking of Adam Morris, we saw tardigrades again, and apparently the tardigrades will fucking eat you. They were about to eat him. I didn't know they would do that. I love seeing the tardigrades. What else worked for us? I liked seeing Hank finally get in a suit.
The
That was kinda
chemistry
cool.
was great.
Chemistry is fantastic.
The effects were good.
the effects are good.
The effects are very
They
good.
did a lot of creative stuff with the shrinking and the resizing powers.
Yeah, I love a lot of the use of those powers. Although my other nitpick is I felt like we saw a lot of it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge problem.
There
because
wasn't anything that we didn't see in the trailer that was in the movie.
anything that was cool
Yeah.
was in the trailer,
I was-
and we
yeah.
saw it already.
Yeah, I was waiting
you
for
were-
something
you went
else.
there thinking that you were going to get some surprises, and there really wasn't a lot. In fact, they took out a lot of the stuff. Like, when he gets really big and he makes that weird like laugh
Yeah,
that he gets
yeah.
when he
Took that
gets
out.
big.
Yeah.
They took that out.
Oh, that's right.
And that,
That's right.
So like you're expecting him to like for some reason be goofy in that moment.
Oh, it's like he inhaled a bunch of nitrous and his voice
yeah,
is
yeah,
down.
yeah.
I enjoyed that he could shrink and grow, and he was fighting a villain that could phase. Because most of these movies,
It's not the opposite of the same thing.
it's not
like
the
the
opposite
first
of the
movie.
same thing. It's the opposite of the same thing.
Yeah.
But this one, they were playing with two different skill sets or power sets that were very unique to each character, and it was like, wow, how do those interact with one another?
And how do you fight a person who can phase?
But how do you fight a person that can phase, and then
And
on the opposite,
disappear.
how do you fight a person
Who can
that
just
can
shrink to
and-
nothing?
Yeah, like it was a very. I wish I would have seen more of that fighting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the first time Ghost and Wasp like face off was pretty awesome.
It was
and they
nice,
were just
yeah.
like, yeah, you get it. But I thought the action was very well done, very well choreographed. All the action scenes. Another favorite moment: Paul Rudd doing a Michelle Pfeiffer impersonation when Janet Van Dyne takes over for his body to unlock the thing, which was
That was
really,
funny.
That was really wild. But he did it. He was so good at that. Paul Rudd's really good. Like I thought he did. He did that. Really
Speaking of Michelle Pfeiffer, this is like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic World. Like how do you overhype, or how do you say that Michelle Pfeiffer's in this movie and then you only give her 5 minutes of screen
I
time?
feel
I know, but they don't even get into where she was and what the fuck
she
did
was
she do?
doing.
Right.
What are her powers now? We were wondering will she have not aged if she had been lost? I read
You
an article.
age in the quantum realm.
You do age, but Feige.
You also have awesome mascara.
well, yeah, and you look like Mad Max, and you got like a sick ass blade. But Feige in an interview said,
Those are her wings, I think.
yeah, well, it was like she took one wing and turned it into like a sword and strapped it up. But what the fuck has she been doing? Was there a dome city back there? Did anybody see? Was there like it looked like there was a dome city in the background when he found her?
I couldn't see.
So look, Feige said the reason they decided to age Michelle Pfeiffer, Janet Van Dyne, is for the emotional reunion between her and Hope, her and Hank.
I didn't have a problem with the aging. It was
Yeah.
more like, how come you hype her in this movie and then there's
She's
nothing
fucking
going
barely
on
in
with
it.
it?
I honestly wish there was a little bit less of the Goliath ghost stuff and a little bit more of the Janet Van Dyne. What the fuck have you been
I
doing?
wish they just took out Walton Goggins.
Well, that was the other thing. What the fuck? Who is Sonny Birch working for? This motherfucker would show up at the worst time and just grab the fucking lab. Walton Goggins has a great name and a great face, but like, Was that really necessary? Like, there was one
probably
too many
could've
things.
Cut that out.
There's
No,
one.
it's not there was one too many things. Is they chose the wrong thing to focus on.
That's true. That's true. They did. They I would have loved a little bit more.
If you had, so here's how you make this better. You take Walt Goggins out, and you in the second act you have Hope, or you have them rescue what's her name, Janet. Van Dyne.
Yeah.
So the second act they rescue her, and then the third act is then they have to protect Janet from Ghost because Ghost wants to fucking kill her.
Oh, that's a better movie right
Or
there.
something's up with Janet Van Dyne. Or
Yes,
something's up with, she ends up being the swerver.
Right.
The swerve.
But you the point of that is you get more time with Janet.
I was expecting her to come out and then at one point be like, "You fools, you release me. Now I can unleash my plan that I've been working on for 30 years or some shit."
Yeah, because you've been the first movie they were teasing that if you go to the quantum realm, it might make you crazy too.
Yeah, it messes
right.
with your
And then
head.
she said something that she's been changed,
Well, it affects, like, she has weird powers. Like, what are her powers? She just she can
That's a
touch you and
stronger
cure her.
story if you make Janet the villain in the third act, and she has to her daughter and her husband have to fight her off.
Have to maybe take her down or
Right.
revert her or not or talk some sense into her. I like that now. It's firmly established you can return from the quantum realm. This is going to be very important moving forward.
You know what they should have done? Now I'm making up this
all
movie
right,
as I
let's
go
go.
along.
Let's make it better. Let's go.
Janet should have been crazy as fuck because she should have been like, "You guys fucking left me here for 30 years."
She should have come out batshit crazy.
Yeah,
yes.
just like you fucks left me
because you're in
you
a,
gave
yeah.
up on me.
Yeah.
You didn't think I had the resolve to like live.
That sounds like another movie
Yeah.
that I've seen. Like, but that would have been good. And then they gotta like talk sense into her.
Or they gotta stop her. And she's like, I've seen things.
she doesn't need to be a crazy loon, but they should have just like showed her that she's just not like adapting. She's not just all there. Like it's like she has PSTD. She's been in a weird place.
Yeah.
She's had to adapt to a whole new life. Years have gone by. She's not going to be the same person that you've seen
Even
before.
the Flash on TV did it better when Barry came out of the Speed Force in the beginning of the season and he was all fucked up. He was saying gibberish lines, things from later in the episode, like his mind and time were overlapping. Something like that would have been cool, but she was fine. She's like, "Hey, Hank,
It
you shut
seems
up."
like they're
They
saving that
kept
for a
it light
third.
on purpose.
Yeah.
They kept it
Yeah.
like as harmless as they don't want you to think about anything.
It
They
suits.
kept it as light as possible until the after credits.
Well, let's talk about the mid-credit scene.
You wanna already go there?
Do you? Oh, no, we don't.
No, we
have to.
go. I mean, we're here.
We're already here. I heard that Marcus and Mafili, the writers of Infinity War, came up with that concept. Now,
Probably a good concept.
yeah. So now it's just where in the timeline is this? Obviously, that mid-credit scene is the snap, and Scott is trapped in the quantum realm until somebody pulls him out of there. In Avengers 4,
Here, let me recap it for the listener.
yes.
that hasn't seen it and wants to be spoiled.
Okay, here we go. Spoil it for them.
How did he get out of the quantum realm the first time?
He trapped.
He had the little disc.
the disc that could resize you.
Yeah.
And make you
No,
bigger.
so we don't know if he has that.
But he's in the quantum. He gets sent to the quantum realm to collect quantum energy to cure ghosts.
I love how they built the tunnel in Lewis's van
Yeah.
with the Mexican horn. So
and
funny.
Hope, Janet, and Hank are there, and then he has to get out, and they won't get him out because they have all disappeared.
You see 3 piles of dust in the air and everything's hanging.
When in my theater, granted, I saw it 6 p.m.
Some
so
people didn't know what the fuck was going on.
My theater, where I could hear, yours was an audible gasp, and they were like, "Oh!"
I heard one dude explaining it to his buddy, but like, "Oh, at the end, Thanos did snap it."
Well, I assume my theater was, hardcore fans,
Obviously, yeah.
and people that were like,
You were
"Oh
wait-
shit, this is connected to Infinity War."
I was
that was my friend was with me, and she was like, "Oh, so this has to do with Infinity War, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah."
I was hoping for that, and I think everyone is expecting that, and I'm glad they gave it to us because holy shit, that one thing would tie it in together. And then even in the end credit scene, there's a little more hint of that where the TV is on color bars, there's no signal, and obviously the
world is
city's
fucked,
empty,
yeah.
and the fucking giant ant is just fucking rocking away on those drums. Has no idea. I did love Scott's aunt stand-in. And Cassie. Let's talk about Cassie. I thought the little girl did a really good job.
He did.
Yeah.
I liked her, yeah.
I like all the foreshadowing of her because in the comic books, she does become
Stature.
Scott's sidekick.
Did
she
you hear
becomes a hero.
the spoilers for Infinity War?
I think we mentioned it. What do you have? Hold on. Spoilers for Infinity War.
Spoiler alert.
We mentioned something
we
before.
might have mentioned this already, so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. Or we're repeating something we saw on the show, I'm sorry. But They have casted an older Cassie Lang.
Yes, teenage Cassie Lang. Possibly, look, if we're looking ahead of Avengers, the next phase, Young Avengers is a good place to go. And they can already start to build this with, you could bring in Miles
she's going to be in
Morales
the new
this way.
Infinity War movie.
Yeah.
Or the sequel.
So in that one, there's going to be a time jump, there's time travel, there's quantum realm entanglements, all sorts of crazy shit. So that's going to be great. I love how every one of these movies has a great Lewis monologue. You got to have the Lewis monologue.
I was cracking up.
And this one.
You know what I
This one is
didn't
great.
like?
Yeah.
You have it here as a best moment. So I had with
Okay.
Agent Wu doing that fucking huge exposition dump.
Yeah, to Cassie. I thought it was funny though. Like he's telling a kid.
Oh my God. That was just like, wow.
I kind of went back and I laughed at Agent Wu, but I was like, I mean, I know this movie's real light. So you have to always preface that this movie's super light. But I was like, really? Like the FBI would send this bumbling fuck to like look over one of the more dangerous superheroes in the country? Like this is the guy that broke the Sokovia Accords. Like he's one of 10 superheroes in the nation that you have to watch.
He's aiding fugitives, possibly.
Right, and you have this bumbling fuck that wants to go to dinner with him as the guy that's watching him. Like it wasn't believable that the FBI would send Agent Wu.
I love Randall Park though. He's great on
He's
Fresh
funny.
Off the Boat.
He's a funny guy. He's just
hilarious.
I think he's the wrong guy in that role.
I love where he's like, so you want to get dinner later? It's like
It's funny when you in the moment it's funny, but then when you think about it, you're like, wait a minute,
why would they send this guy? He busted in so many times. Okay.
Hey, does everybody have to be funny in this movie?
Yeah, it's Ant-Man.
It's like Homecoming.
Yeah, everyone has to be the Joker. I love Kurt. I love Kurt when he's the Baba Yaga about the witch.
I mean, even the stepdad is trying to be funny in this.
Bobby Cannavale, yeah, he's barely.
He's like hugging Paul Rudd every time he sees him. He's like, oh, I
thought that FaceTime emergency about the shoes was also kind of cute. I mean, that's like the heart of this kind of movie, right in a weird place. But a lot of this does undermine the stakes of the movie and the tension, and I
mean, there's no tension.
There's no tension. Like, what's the plot?
Yeah, you never feel like there's anything bad going to happen until it happens in that post-credit scene.
They went with we're going no tension this movie. They went with you're just going to have a good time.
You're going to have a good time. Don't overthink it. But it was still a fun ride. Okay, look, with that.
Do you like this better or the original Ant-Man?
That's a good question. Don't anybody answer because we're going to take a break. We're going to play some promos and we're going to come back and talk about what didn't work and we will rank it and continue on.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
How you doing? My name's PJ. I'm from the Bickerbots Podcast. Bickerbots Podcast is basically what happens when you take a Republican, a Libertarian, and a Liberal and sit them all in front of the mics and discuss current events and most pop culture.
Would it be cheating to bang a smoking hot sex robot? Pack, please answer, because I need to know.
I don't
you
think
need
so.
to know?
So we here at the Bickerbots Podcast feel everyone's special, even the gingers. I'm going to apologize to all the ginger listeners at this time. Ray's a stout racist.
You just said they should be 50% off at the adoption homes. Just saying.
We care about worldly issues like our brothers down under and their sex-crazed koala bears. Koala chlamydia an all-time high and is spreading. Bro, get them koalas some fucking rubbers. Here at the Bickerbots Podcast, we don't judge people based on their sexuality.
Not all of them, but
it's their version. It's not like
so
our
they
version.
have. Okay, interesting.
Oh, you're starting to think about all them catching and fucking, huh?
Yeah, I listened to the bestiality episode. That was quite interesting conversation, let me tell you.
There's nothing interesting about it. It's just man, beast,
and love.
Exactly.
Well, if you like what you heard, we're on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, basically any platform you can download a podcast on.
This is Todd Gersler. This is Craig Cosner. Hate this podcast.
The best show you never heard. The best show you're never going to want to hear.
I'm just trying to not work and laugh.
We're just trying to make each other laugh.
Like, politically correct is bullshit. You could be liberal and not be politically correct.
We're just trying to push the envelope.
We interview interesting people, comedians,
sex-positive feminists,
musicians. Most of all, we say whatever we want to say. We have a producer he likes to overstep the boundaries, right?
Yes.
He does.
He's not funny.
You may be offended, but you will laugh on iTunes
and Google Play,
Stitcher, and all that shit. I hate this podcast.
You can't possibly hate this podcast as much as we do.
Hello?
Doc and Nerd.
Hey, listener, if you enjoy the Jock and Nerd podcast and you want more show, there's only one place you need to go, and that's our fan club at Patreon. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. And so if you've never done the Patreon, here's what it is. It's a value for value entertainment kind of thing.
Patron?
Patron is very good tequila, first of all.
It's nice.
Single malt, clear tequila.
Very good tequila.
That's what you want.
I enjoy
But
tequila.
like the Patreon is like, look, say you're walking down the street.
There's nothing like Patron.
Yeah, there isn't? No, not even a Cuervo? That's
not Patron.
Añejo? Is it Añejo or Reposado? I don't know. I always get the two confused.
I'd prefer a burrito right about
And then he's drunk. So
I like a burrito.
Burrito is great. I'd like a taquito. Look, imagine you're walking down the street and you see a street musician, and this street musician, maybe they're playing a song that reminds you of someone you love, or maybe you're just like, fuck, that guy's really good. Why is he on the street? You're going to throw him a little bit of change.
Or I got another one.
Yeah.
He's really skinny, has a dog with him, and he's wearing a shirt that doesn't fit it.
Is that something that's worthy to give money up?
Yes.
He's not providing any value, though.
He's got a dog, though.
I saw this video of this dude in a full Darth Vader costume with a bass and an amp, and he was playing Rage Against the Machine on this amp in a Darth Vader costume. That guy, I want to throw $1 into his fucking bucket. That guy was sick. That's what our fan club is. If you sign up, throw us a couple of shekels a month, you help cover maintenance costs, and you get more show and you get some swag. There's tons of perks. You get an exclusive RSS feed with post-show instant reactions, whole episodes, Jock Talk with Anthony and Chaz Hubbard.
Yeah.
If something like that interests you, check it out. And a hearty thank you to all of our patrons. We appreciate your ongoing support. That's
We're not going to list their names. We're not going to read out their names and then do like a stupid rhyme or something like
I'm
that.
going to do that because there's a lot of them now. It would take like 10
or
minutes.
like maybe we like do their name and then guess what kind of fetish they have.
See,
something
you guys
stupid
like
that.
those games. I
don't like those games.
Why? I'll bring them back.
What is their porn
Anthony's
fetish?
just testing you to see if you're going to fall for this shit.
Hey, shut the fuck up. I'm doing something.
I'm sorry, Chaz. I didn't mean to. Okay, back to Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm going to put this on the table right now. I don't think it's as good as the first movie.
Oh, shit.
I don't either.
What do you, Anthony?
I would agree. I don't think it is.
Okay, let's talk about why.
I don't mean to agree with everybody, but I don't.
But I don't
There
think
was
it's
a
as
romance
strong.
in that first movie that was developing.
Yeah.
And it was playful to see like him and Hope kind of like bounce off of each other.
Will they, won't they was very good.
Yeah, and she was a little bit more sexy in that movie too.
Yeah, you might have a point.
I liked her in this. I liked her.
I like Evangeline Lilly.
I like her haircut in this movie.
I like her haircut a lot more in this.
Yes.
Than the pointy.
Just her presence was a little bit more sexy.
This one, she was more badass though, and it was all about her fighting her mother. Now, both these movies have a lot of heart. I think the heart in the first one because it was Scott and he was doing it for his daughter.
Yeah,
that I think just played a little bit better.
The action's better in this one.
The action is better in this movie, but the plot is clunkier in this movie.
Yeah, the
also,
plot's just a mess.
Yeah,
It's
like
there's no real bad guy.
Yeah, there's no real bad guy. There's no real antagonist. And did anyone else totally see the Goliath twist coming? Looking back, I was like,
absolutely.
I kind of, when it happened, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But he's not a bad guy, and neither was she. They were just misunderstood.
No one's a bad guy.
So but dude, 20 movies in, this is still a solid entry and a solid,
It's very solid.
For what they're trying to do.
I would agree. So I think it's not as good as the first. And I have trouble putting my finger on why, but I think the first one, there was something I could rally up against in that one. Being Yellow Jacket, even though he is like a shitty villain.
Yes.
He is something I could rally against. Whereas this one, by the time we got to the third act, I was like,
well, they built it to Janet Van Dyne, and then you're like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
nothing happened.
They got her back. Okay, like there was no, I don't know. I was expecting some sort of climactic
I thought there would be a
battle.
thing. Yes, I thought there was another thing that they weren't showing us in the trailer that they're like, oh, we got you fuckers. Boom.
Right.
That shit never happened.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting, something that would happen that I hadn't seen yet and never happened. And then the movie just kind of ended.
Yeah, he got the box from Walton Goggins on the boat, and then he just passes out. That's it. That's the big ending.
He was too big.
Well, then they get back Janet, and then she's like, "Oh, I got the cure," and she like touches her, and then it's like,
Yeah.
So do you think she can still phase after Janet has
It was a
fused
temporary
her?
cure.
Oh, so she has to do it every so often, which is why they were collecting
Right.
the quantum
But the
particles.
movie, there's just
So that
nothing.
proves that they didn't need her any at all, Janet
Yeah,
Van Dyne.
right.
They could have just collected the energy.
Yeah, and gave
They've
her.
even contradicted themselves in the movie.
Both movies kind of struggle with this, but there's just really not a lot there in terms of plot. There's some good stuff there with like the daughter in both films, but there's not a lot there in terms of like an actual storyline that like can last an entire film.
See, I would like to see what the quantum realm holds. Maybe they're holding this for the third movie.
Yeah.
But like the quantum realm could be something awesome. It could be really something interesting.
This is good. It's been confirmed that Captain Marvel in the next movie that happens in the 90s, she will interact with the quantum realm. This may be how they travel 2 dimensions in Avengers 4, bypassing Thanos, collecting different stuff. There's the quantum realm in the next 2 movies will play a factor in this. I can guarantee.
I kind of lump this movie in with both Ant-Man, the original Ant-Man, and Doctor Strange, and that there's like a lot of weirdness that they could lean into, but they don't do it.
Well, they wanted to ground. This one is more grounded. That's why I kind of like this is like the grounded street level. It's San Francisco.
cool,
it's
but-
a whole nother flavor.
But when you ground it like that, it doesn't make it as unique as if you could lean into like the weird quantum realm stuff, or with Doctor Strange. Like,
yeah,
it's a little weirder, but they could have went really weird with that movie.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like,
it's very conventional in how they solve problems.
They're still playing it as safe as you can play it with having a shrinking person. If you would have spent this third act of the movie like in the quantum realm, that movie becomes infinitely more,
I wanted to see-
infinitely, no
yeah.
pun intended, more memorable.
I wanted to see more Janet in there. What the fuck she was doing? Also, the first one, it had 7 years to simmer with Edgar Wright, and we had never seen anything like that. Like the freshness of that movie and the time it hit and how funny it was perfect in that. So it was kind of like the first Deadpool. Like I've already seen a lot of this. This is just they're doing it again. But this one I laughed out loud numerous times. So they achieved on the comedic beats for me, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're even the comedy though. They're going back to the old. Like, there's nothing new in terms of the comedy.
Yeah.
You're still leaning on Lewis being
Michael
telling
Pena
the
is
story.
great.
Michael Pena
I want to see more
telling
about the
stories.
ex-con company. That would be fun too.
But even like the ex-con stuff this time around, it was like T.I. and the Russian guys show up, and it's like, oh wait, they're in this movie.
Oh, these guys too.
I forgot
remember?
that they were in the movie. Like,
They're gonna come in to tase for the sake.
I need to come to where you are so you can help me with this business proposal.
So
these characters,
how poorly written is that? It's terrible.
I'll tell you, a lot of stuff seemed kind of tacked on, like an afterthought. Like, oh, just make Belfoster the thing here with Douglas Saint over there.
Yeah,
to pad it out.
It seemed
because
like
I wrote it. That's why.
Yeah.
It seemed like they had this ensemble cast, and they were like, we did a really we struck gold in this first film with this ensemble.
Yeah,
but we don't have enough for this ensemble to do in this second film, but we still got to incorporate them somehow.
Yeah,
And it feels- so it feels
I
tacked
like
on.
this movie. It was fun, but there are obvious things that if you look at it for more than a second and think about it, you're like, oh, those were weird decisions.
Yeah,
Those are weird ways to go.
Any questions? I got a couple of questions.
Go
for
ahead.
this
I like
movie
your
that-
question.
That does this timeline match up? When exactly does this take place? They said it's been 2 years since he got busted out of the raft. So that's real time. It's been 2 years since Civil War.
Right.
Does this happen? I feel like this happens right before the events of Infinity
So
War.
in Fears of Infinity War, that movie happened in like a day or two.
It was 2 days. This movie also took maybe like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, but it's a year. I mean, anytime that year,
it could have happened. I think for you and for anyone that's like fretting about this, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I think the epilogue, I think it's clearly before Infinity War.
Before any
This whole
invasion,
movie.
yes. The whole part of it, yes.
Before anything happens with Thanos' men coming down and fucking shit up in New York or whatever, this happens way before that. The epilogue
Definitely after.
is moments before Infinity.
Right.
Right, and that could have been days later from the end of where the movie
I got to
ends.
kind of semi like paraphrase Movie Bob, but he was basically like this.
No, it's got to be months later because they built like a whole new thing.
Oh, that's
and
right.
put it
He
in the
did.
car.
He did build the whole fucking tunnel in the car.
Movie
yeah.
Bob was like basically, this movie is just entertainment.
It is.
Like it's not meant to be homework. Stop thinking about.
Well, because if you do, like, for example, if you think about it, it doesn't make sense. For example, at the end of the movie, Hank and Janet are by the water, and he makes a house for them, right?
Right.
They're all still fugitives. Why in the post-credit scene would they fucking come back to San Francisco where everybody's looking for them?
All right, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Now that you bring up this house thing.
Yeah.
The inflatable building. I don't know what
The lab. Let's call it the lab
that can
with the
size
giant suitcase handle.
Everything's all self-contained in there. So there's
I just-
running water.
Yeah,
just-
nothing.
when you shit,
Yeah.
it just I don't know what happens.
Well, I was just gonna say this lab that
You can't think about this lab.
this
It makes
lab
no sense.
this lab makes no goddamn sense. Like
No.
how if you are hiding from the cops,
Yeah.
how are you gonna put this lab in the middle of a fucking neighborhood,
Yeah.
and no one's gonna notice that? Oh my god, a lab, a fucking building was just built here overnight. That
where
looks
did-
suspicious.
Where did this building come from, and why is
Nobody cares.
Nobody is noticing that this lab just popped up in an empty lot.
Have you
Like,
s-
how are
yeah.
you hiding in public like that?
there's a giant suitcase?
That was the
handle?
only point where I was like, wait a minute. I mean, not the only point, but the point where I was like, when he shrinks this goddamn lab in the
whole
middle of the
movie's
neighborhood, I'm
full of
like,
it.
okay, this is over.
How is everything staying in place? Like everything should be wrecked.
No, not that. It's
Every
not
time,
even
too.
that. It's the fact that he's putting this fucking lab in a neighborhood,
Yes.
and no one notices
No,
that this
notice
lab
the
is
building
appearing
just
and disappearing. At the,
pops
like,
up.
yeah, how does a building pop up in a second?
All good questions.
He should have put that. The lab should have existed in a forest the entire movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Once you put it in the city,
the
it's
thing
over.
is, but it does make the
It doesn't. You know what I would do if I was them to be really smart?
yeah.
Is just to shrink down and go in the lab.
That's what I'm saying. It makes it portable, and then when you have to go to the lab, it's like in the corner in a mouse hole in the wall, and
Yeah,
you
they
shrink
just
down.
plug
And
it
you walk
into a
in.
socket, and then they got everything.
But I mean, the visual gag is pretty funny.
the
where he
visuals are
pulls out
funny.
The handle, and
But
the
it's just
thing.
like, why? Wait, if you're trying to be inconspicuous, you wouldn't put the lab in a neighborhood.
Yeah. Who do you guys think Sonny Birch was working for? Who knows about these components? And he's someone who wants something to do with the quantum realm. Now, I think if you extend this even further to like the Disney Fox deal, my first thought was, could this be like Dr. Doom? Is he working for Dr. Doom? Is it someone? Who else could it be? Could it be like an Osborn? I really wanted to know.
It could be the Vulture.
It could be the Vulture. Oh, it could be the Vulture. He likes those gadgets.
Anything with alien tech or anything that's super,
It's someone who knows about quantum physics and the power of the quantum realm. I don't
Who
know.
would know about quantum stuff?
Kang? Kang the Conqueror? Maybe it's Kang. Maybe he'll show up in Avengers 4.
Oh, you're talking about people that haven't been in the MCU.
Yeah, possibly. I think it may be someone.
Egghead.
It's Egghead's dead.
MODOK?
Ooh, it could be MODOK. I like that. That's very
Geek boner.
Yeah. And then we already asked, what are Janet's powers now? Nobody knows. It's very vague. And also, when Scott comes out, if he's in there that long, will his powers also change?
Maybe.
Will he have fucked up powers? Is Ghost going to be a friend of them now? Are they all a big team? I like the team, the original set, and then you got the new set, and then you got Bill Foster's Goliath, and you got Ghost. That's a kick-ass team right there. Then you got Michael Pena.
I wish they would have done. Speaking of Bill Foster, I wish they would have done. They teased it with his sizing stuff. I wish they would have teased. They would have had a moment in that film where he
actually embiggens.
He becomes Goliath, and he has to fight Scott Lang as Giant Man.
Well, he's still around, so they can still do that.
They could still do that, but I was hoping for it in this
My
film.
favorite thing that I forgot to mention is the de-aging that they did.
Oh, yeah, dude. On the three of them. Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, Lawrence Fishburne. I think...
Ruggs, you didn't think that looked like Henry Cavill's mustache? His upper lip?
No, it's
I'm
way
fucking
better.
with you.
It's pretty amazing. I was staring at their faces, and I was like, holy shit, look at how smooth. There's no fucking lines. I think this is
The best was when they did it on, in my opinion, when they did it on Lawrence Fishburne.
And like, because even his skin had like the freckles and the pockmarks, but he was young. It was amazing. And I think this is the get for them getting established actors. Who wouldn't want to be, oh, you're going to make me look beautiful again? I'm in. Where do I sign? You're going to make me look like I did in the 70s? Fucking, let's do this.
Well, they've been doing this de-aging shit. They did it in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
They did it in the first Ant-Man.
They did it in Civil
Iron
War.
Man or Civil War.
Do you think Gary Busey signs on now to be a DH?
They can make Gary Busey look not crazy somehow. Hey, look, they fixed Forrest Whitaker's eye, so Marvel can do anything. They're fucking magicians when it comes to that.
You think Nick Nolte comes on and he's like, I'm going to become young?
It's that technology gets better and better.
Steven Seagal
Now, let me
suddenly,
ask you
suddenly
this
loses
question.
100
Yeah,
pounds.
yeah.
Do you think I didn't research this at all, but did you think that Kate Blanchett was like CGI, like most of the movie?
Oh, in Thor Ragnarok?
You mean her costume?
Her costume definitely was.
Like her whole body.
Her whole body was covered like a Black Panther thing?
Like, they just put it's a CG body.
Like
on
they
her
like they
head.
made her skinnier. you're
No,
saying?
they put her face on somebody else? I don't think so.
I don't know. I think that she looks too good.
She looked amazing. She looks amazing.
She
in
looks
that
like
movie.
an action figure.
Her, Well, I mean, I don't know if they edited her body, but I'll say that her whole costume was CGI. Everything.
Really?
Yeah, I remember. I remember seeing like clips online of like them filming it, and she
had nothing on.
She had like the whole like green screen suit.
Well, she did have a green screen
Yeah.
suit. I mean, well, obviously the headdress and shit.
Everything.
So I
it
mean,
was just her fucking face.
it's amazing. They do that so seamlessly. Like you don't.
They do a
notice.
really good job.
I would never have fucking known
It's
that.
funny too, because like when you remember watching Green Lantern, you're like, "Holy shit, that looks terrible," and like now they've
They
like
got it.
perfected it. At least Marvel's perfected it.
Panther, dude. The work that they do on the Panther outfit looks fucking. I mean, even Spider-Man's outfit.
Most of those costumes are CGI. Iron
They
Man's
are.
costume
They are, yeah.
is CGI.
Yeah. Not caps.
Not
Do you
caps.
like that though? That it's all CG.
I don't know. It gets to be a little bit much, especially in Infinity War when you had Iron Man and Spider-Man in his new suit, and you could tell at the neck it was like there's some crazy shit going on. Like that's where the green suit, the green screen suit ended.
That's a good point. The in this film, I kept noticing. This is the first time I noticed that Ant-Man and the Wasp, their helmets would come on CGI.
Oh,
it'd like come out of their suit.
Yeah,
and I was
it
like,
goes
I was like, mid watching the film, I'm like, they're overusing that. Like that's an overused trope now in this film that
Yeah, everybody's got helmets that just
like
form.
that just
Iron
form
Man,
out of the
yeah,
Iron Man has it, Spider-Man has it. I'm like,
Nanite technology.
I wish you could. I wish it was just an actual physical helmet that
that you have to
take
put
off.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that thing now.
Like not everyone's gonna have that tech.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it just fucking covers scallops around you. That's a good point. How do you think the quantum realm works now? Is it an
How does it
alternate
work?
universe? It messes with people.
I mean, I always thought it was just a smaller universe.
It gets
Like,
smaller and smaller and
Right.
smaller. That's a dumb question. Do you think Janet's powers, so these powers where she can cure people, I thought this was an interesting question. Would this work in the soul world? And will that come handy maybe in Avengers 4 where she can...
Well, she's absorbing quantum energy. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
She can now
store it and manipulate it?
and manipulate it and push it out.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know how to like shape it or make it do anything, does she? That we don't know that.
We don't know. We don't know. It was
Isn't
very
she
vague.
dead right now?
Who?
Janet.
Oh, well, yeah. Who else? Who else went poof out of that cast? Is Ghost still around? Is Bill still around? We don't know.
I don't think they're going to use any of those characters.
The irony of Janet Van Dyne, 30 years stuck in the fucking quantum realm. She's out 2 days, and then, sorry, you're dust now. You should have fucking stayed in the quantum realm. What are you going to do?
I would say like 2 months.
Okay, maybe 2 months. Still, I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he escapes. He's stuck there. Will he get more powers?
That does answer. Like I remember seeing that poster with the potential Avengers in the next Avengers film.
Yeah.
I was wondering where Wasp was, and now I know that.
Oh snap!
She is gone.
She didn't make it.
She didn't make it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, she at the end, especially Janet keeps talking about how there's a time vortex. It fucks with your head. So when Scott comes out, it could be like 2 years later, 20 years later. He doesn't know when he's going to come out. Things will be all fucking different.
There's set photos of him coming out, or of him with the Avengers, where they're dressed like the first Avengers film.
Oh, and he's there in the first one.
So he might pop out, and it's like the past.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
There's a bunch of different shit that they can play with.
That's kind of fun.
There's set photos of Tony Stark looking real old too. So
They got little things on their hands.
there's a lot of stuff they might play with.
A couple of fun Easter eggs to wrap up this discussion. Jimmy Woo, Randall Park's character, he goes back to the 50s. He's been a Marvel Comics character for a long time, so I thought that was kind of cool.
You probably remember him. You were born in that.
I read him when I was 4 in 1940 something. Sokovia Accords gets a mention on the TV. Where you saw Donald Sutherland for a second, it was Animal House, the movie Animal House, and the line he was saying was about one little tiny universe hidden in a single atom, which is a kind of nice tie-in. The ex-con company is similar to what Ant-Man has in the comic books. It's called like Ant-Man Security System. Scott Lang started. Sonny Birch is an Iron Man antagonist in the comics who's even worked for Cross Technologies, who was Darren Cross from the first movie.
Ghost is actually an Iron Man villain.
Ghost is also an Iron Man villain. We already mentioned her father, Elias Starr, is Egghead. Bill Foster is Goliath. And this is the first time that he gets referred to as Giant Man, Scott, when he gets big. On the news, on the TV, you see them say Giant Man. They never said that before.
Right.
But I love when he was using the truck to skate down the road.
That was funny.
That was great. It's like so charming.
Using it as a scooter.
Yeah. I mean, the movie still has the same. It's delightful. It's charming. It's got heart. It's got emotion.
In this movie, they definitely let Paul Rudd just kind of be. They're like, Paul Rudd, just act like you.
He did a lot of probably ad-lib stuff where they're like, we'll pick one of those. Just be Paul Rudd. And he is.
Because at the end of it, other than his daughter, there's not a lot for him to do.
No.
He's not actually the star of the film.
No, he's not. He was kind of sidelined.
Yeah.
And it was more about, there was just a lot of things.
It was weird because it was his movie.
Yeah.
But
it's called Ant-Man and the Wasp, though.
But the Wasp did all the work.
Well, and it's about saving Janet Van Dyne. Yeah. So that it's more about Hank.
This
it's more
movie should
about
have been the Wasp and Ant-Man.
It's more about Hank. It's more about Hope. The only reason he's in it is because they wrote this like convenient plot device that there's quantum entanglement and he's like psychically connected with
from the first movie.
But otherwise, he's really not supposed to be in this film at all.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't need to be there. He
doesn't need to be there.
No.
Ghost really doesn't need to be there. Walt Goggins doesn't need to be there. Really, there's not a lot of things that need to be happening.
It's a little clunky plot moving the plot forward.
Well, it's just like there's this journey to get Janet, and we're gonna throw all these curveballs.
There was
at
a much more elegantly interesting way to do this that they chose not to do, in favor of setting up these little like cute little things that could be funny. So that's what the main driving force of this movie is. Let's set up these little things that could be funny and not like tell an elegant story. So it is kind of like a mess, but like they did it on purpose, obviously.
I did think we would have got to see more of Janet and Quantum Realm, but no. But still, fun time at the movies had by all. Let's rank it, rate it, score it. What do you want to do? Where does it land? I think we've already established that we don't think it's better than the first movie.
It's not that bad. It's
but it's right
it's
there.
A step below.
Yes,
it's step
half
below,
a
but
step
not too bad.
Correct.
Yeah,
absolutely. The first one was just very refreshing. Anthony, why don't you kick it off? Where would you put it? What would you score it?
I mean, it's definitely for me the back half of the Marvel universe.
Okay,
but that doesn't mean it's a bad film for me. I would go like 6.7 out of 10.
Damn. Okay.
Oh shit.
Maybe like a 6.5.
My scores are all, I'm thinking of the movies we scored, and my scores are all fucked up.
Yeah, you rank everything too high.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I'm realizing that. Ruggs, what's your thoughts?
I'm kind of like on the same page as Anthony. Like, I enjoyed this movie. I laughed, but when I was sitting there thinking about it afterwards, I was like, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing by thinking about this movie because I'm going to start finding holes.
Yeah.
And then they're not, and the holes are going to keep compounding. And then I'm just going to have to just like, okay, I'm suspending my disbelief, but now I got to suspend that this story works in some way. So there's that problem. But yes, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the experience of seeing it. And I did laugh, and I thought some of the scenes were entertaining. So, a 6.5 it's better than average.
Son. Yeah.
I could even almost go for a 7. So like what Anthony was trying to do is 6.7. I probably would go along with that as well. Closer to a 7 than anything. Yeah.
All right. That's fair. Dude, my numbers are all messed up. I can't. Why? Okay. Last episode I gave Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom a 7. That's wrong. This movie is like a 7.5. That movie is like a fucking 5 compared to this movie. So my numbers are complete bullshit and mean nothing.
Yeah, I could go 7 with you.
I'm gonna, but then I was like, I gave Jurassic World a 7.5. No. I'm sorry. That was a mistake.
That's a big fuck up right there.
5.5 for that one. This is like a 7.5 movie.
But
easily.
You have to put it in context. Like Jurassic World was like a big budget action movie with like all of these crazy effects.
Yeah.
It was a huge movie.
Yeah.
This is a much smaller
This is a much smaller movie. Cost them $170 million to make still.
It costs a lot, but it's a smaller movie.
But it's a smaller movie.
It feels smaller.
Yeah. But that's what you want.
I mean,
that's what it's supposed to be.
This movie feels smaller because when you look at the stakes of Infinity War, it's half the universe dying. And then this one is about saving.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, with this and the first one. At least the first one had more stakes. This one didn't even have enough stakes to like.
I mean, it's stakes. It's just different. It just takes some getting used to because you've just come off a film where half the fucking universe died.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be the next film in that continuity, and it doesn't have anything to do with that.
Look, man, they already made.
That's not a bad thing. It's just different.
I mean, they gave.
I like that it's not a whole universe thing.
Yes.
It just felt a little small. That's all.
But
I agree with Ruggs. It felt very small.
But I needed this kind of break. Like, this is the kind of movie it needed for the third of the year. Different tones and themes from Black Panther, Infinity War.
It needed more of like that big thing that the crescendo at the end. It needed something.
It didn't really have like a big climax or like a big kind of battle ending climax thing. The heart was there. The first one just has a little bit more. It just does it a little bit better. The first movie, everything.
Yeah.
Despite it having your doppelganger fucking same villain. That's you know.
And everything happens tiny in that movie.
But I love that, like in the first movie, that the battle happened in his daughter's bedroom. In the like that was so good, and it made sense, and you know you connected with the kid and the characters there. This one is like just removed from anything.
What was better, Thomas the Tank Engine being blown up or the Pez being blown up?
I don't know. The Pez was pretty good.
You just got Pez.
I love that line because you got Pez.
I gotta go with you. Thomas the Tank though being blown up was hilarious.
That because that comes out again. This is the first time it comes out of nowhere. They're repeating these jokes. So
and then they cut to like the real life, and you just see the thing fall over, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's
a good button on.
They didn't do any of that this movie. That was hilarious when they did that because you see the actual scope of it is just it's nothing.
Yeah,
but still fun movie. I'm looking forward to see Cassie Lang.
I mean, it was good. It wasn't bad. It was good. Pretty forgettable.
Marvel doesn't make terrible movies.
You don't make bad movies. They make good to great.
This is just a little sloppy. That's all.
Look, I think after they're like, we don't even need this movie to make any money after making $4 billion.
It's not.
They're gonna make. Yeah,
this is like when you go over someone's house for dinner, and then they just like didn't really do anything.
They ordered out.
There's a bunch of stuff out
Yeah.
that you just serve yourself, kind of thing.
Or it's like,
and then they went to the extreme of like preparing a dish and preparing like.
It's not like a leg of lamb. It's not like they made a leg of lamb for you.
Or it's like when you're like you've been dating some girl for a long time, and you're like, I'm not gonna give this sex my best effort.
We've done this.
But I'm gonna get hard.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make sure she feels okay by the end of it.
Look, you know what you're gonna get.
But I'm not. I'm not as enthused about this
You're
situation.
not auditioning for the role anymore.
Yeah. You're in there. You're already good.
Yeah, you're already locked in.
You're not not bringing that A game anymore.
No, you're just
checking the
making
boxes.
donuts.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't think it's that Marvel. It's like okay, Marvel's getting a little complacent in the relationship.
But you're still getting hard. It's not like a bad.
You're still getting off.
You're still getting it up.
It wasn't the best getting off like the first time.
Right. You're still hard.
You're still hard.
You're still hard.
You're definitely
Geek Boner.
So,
You're
look,
still wet. You're still hard. It's still a good time.
this is not to say Marvel's getting complacent by any means. Here's what's coming up next. Captain Marvel, March 8th, 2019. Again, no new stories in the storyline. This will take place in the 90s. What will happen here? We know she's going to go to the quantum realm. Where will it leave off? Will she show up? Will it end with the pager? We don't know. And then Avengers 4, still yet untitled, May 3rd next year. And then the third movie for next year, Spider-Man Far From Home, which has begun shooting already, getting ready for a July 5th release. You guys, could we get 4 movies a year from the MCU? They've been giving us a consistent 3.
No, I think 3 is good.
You think 3's enough? Like, and they're not hitting the end of the years late this year and next year.
Leave them wanting more than being like, this is over.
Yeah.
That is a good point. And for the listener, if you want more, we're going to give you a free month of Stitcher Premium. I'm shoving in the Stitcher Premium read way in here. Just go to Stitcher.com/premium. Use the promo code NERD. You get a free month before September 2018. Use this code. Enjoy some free content. Okay, before we get to the mailbag, I want to announce a little announcement coming out this week. If you're listening to the show, the week of July 6th, G-Fest 2018.
Oh, shit.
Back in town. We're going to get visited by our buddies John Bellotti Jr.,
We're not getting visited. We're visiting them.
We're visiting them, but they're coming to the town. Michael Tchaikovsky, you may have seen in the Facebook group from thevampirerobots.com. This is, first of all, if you don't know what G-Fest is, it is the largest Godzilla fan convention in the world. Apparently, right?
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The world largest. This is the 25th year. This is G-Fest 25.
Yeah, but they've been doing it a while.
That's amazing. I had no idea. It's going to be July 13th to July 15th at the Crown Plaza, Chicago O'Hare, in near the airport in Rosemont.
Well, if you attend that, you might see the nerd.
We will be there. I'm going to be there on Saturday.
You might see the jock on Saturday as well.
Traditionally, we like to go on the Saturday night towards the end because that's when things get a little wacky. They get a little wild. They get a little kaiju.
Every time I've been there, well, no, not every time. The last time I was there, when I was at the backyard part, whatever the fuck that's called, the patio party.
The after party.
I was like, this is the weirdest motherfucking group I've ever been around in my life. So I'm coming back. I'm going to show my face again, and I'm going to see how weird it gets.
Now, if you are a new listener just joining us, maybe you started listening this year, there's two very important episodes you should go back and listen to. G-Fest 2017, episode 178, we talked about it a little bit, but the classic one, episode 118, the first time we went to G-Fest 2016, you will hear me break shit that cost $800.
Oh, shit.
All recorded. If you like awkward audio, you got Anthony hitting on Godzilla girls. You got me breaking shit like the spaz that I am. It's an amazing episode. This is what you get at G-Fest. And I'm looking forward to seeing Lenny and Nick Shev and John Bellotti. If you guys want to see them, you've seen them in the group.
What about Dope Pope?
Dope Pope will be there. Chicago area listeners, come on out on the Saturday. Pope Dope. I can't wait to see Dope.
Yeah, this is a good place to do. If you want to do a Jock and Nerd meetup, this is the time because everybody will be out.
I think it's like $20 to get in, or you could just like walk in.
I'm sure you guys are going to get drunk at that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a good time. This is a good time to meet up and
it's a fun time
and support a convention that, although not your San Diego Comic-Con, is still a worthy convention.
There's some sick Godzilla costumes,
and
there.
all these people are first and foremost Godzilla fans, but they're also just fans of the genre of like geekdom and nerdom.
Yep. There's a lot of
good conversation to have there if you want to hang out.
I always have a good time. I'm excited to go third year in a row. We'll give you our wrap up the following week. Okay,
and they're all weird.
Yeah, they're all. That's why
maybe one day I'll come out there.
Rug Boy at G-Fest could happen. You know, I broke something in 2016, but since then my facial hair is so different that I don't think anybody.
They don't even remember who you are.
I don't think anyone recognize me anymore. They'd be like, "You look like that one dude that broke shit," but his beard was all black. That's clearly not you. So you're fine. Come on.
I just remember you breaking that item. And I was next to you, and you were interviewing that girl that I told you to interview, and you broke it, and I walked away like I didn't know you.
You're like, see you later. Good luck with that. I was like, fuck, dude.
Good luck with that, Imran.
You can hear all that episode 118. It's hilarious. It's so bad that I can't listen to it because it gives me like douche chills down my back. I'm like, oh my God. I'm such a
spaz.
In your balls.
Spaz.
You feel it in your balls.
I do feel it in my balls. Speaking of balls. Let's get to the voicemails for the mailbag. We got 2 voicemails, everybody. Let's see. The first one here from our buddy Louis Paz.
Hey guys, it's Louis here. Holy shit. That is the best idea. I completely agree about the Predator deal.
What idea?
Have the biggest badasses we have today, like a Jason Momoa, throw him in the jungle versus a Predator. So like basically an Expendables sequel featuring the Predator kicking their ass.
Yeah, you need the big name.
That's the only way you're going to save this Predator. Like
they made a movie like that, but like they used people that nobody knew.
Adrian Brody is not a big dude that you want to see fight. I mean,
no, the biggest name they used was the biggest name they had was fucking Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo is great.
And what
Topher Grace was in it?
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace, Skinny Old Venom?
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
Like,
do you think
you need like Momoa, you need
The Rock?
Statham.
Do you think that's what I was thinking? The Rock, Momoa, and Statham. Do you think they would do this fucking movie?
And Vin Diesel.
I would say
Vin Diesel.
I threw that idea out there, and it's not an original idea because that was what the first Predator was.
Yeah. But you do it with the guys now.
You do it with the guys now.
Speaking of Statham, you know which fucking movie's going to...
He's in the Meg movie. The Megalodon movie. I can't believe that he's in that
movie's going to make a killing. Think about how much money Jurassic World make. This is a straightforward shark horror movie. This thing is going to be huge overseas. Anybody can relate to this.
I don't know if it's going to be $1 billion. I don't know if it's going to be huge, but it reminds me of Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, but you just you turn your mind off, and this is a bigger shark. That fucking shark looks huge.
It's going to be a shit. It's going to be a shit fest.
Yeah,
people are going to watch it because everybody watches shark movies.
Yeah, it's like a sci-fi fucking shitty shark movie with a lot of money.
I can't get over the CGI
of the shark.
Yeah,
I'm just not buying it.
I just don't buy it.
It's not as good as Jurassic Park CGI.
That's true.
I'll tell you that.
That Mosasaur looked fucking good when he's coming up for those surfers. But maybe one day they'll get Momoa. He's not doing the Crow. Put him in the fucking Predator movie. That movie looks generic. Okay, gotta
imagine. Jason Momoa has his dreads, and then the Predator has his dreads.
Oh, snap.
It's a dread off.
Yeah, he's like, bro, only...
And then he's wearing a mesh shirt. Yeah. He's just dressed like the Predator.
He's just like, why are you dressed like me wearing fishnets?
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck's going on?
And he's really just pissed because the Predator is copying his style, and he wants to be original.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care that he's killing fucking hunting humans. He's like, you fucking get rid of those dreads and put a different shirt on, you fucker.
Yeah.
And he has like the same tattoos.
Yeah.
Here's our second voicemail.
Cultural appropriation is not good.
It happens every time. There we go.
Alien cultural.
What's up, geeks, athletes, and whoever else is here accidentally? Matty J is officially retired. My new persona, Matthew James, is more mature and astute. You're going to get straight facts and news out of this guy. Anything, hopefully, that the Jock and Nerd don't cover, I will pick up. So watch Sicario, Day of the Soledad, which translates roughly into Day of the Soldier. Josh Brolin is back again. Character named Matthew. Also a very cool name. Could Josh Brolin get any cooler? He's been in 3 movies this summer. He's killing it. Heineken's own Antonio Banderas. Benicio del Toro is back as well. This movie's okay. A lot of action. Kind of a war over this drug lord's daughter, and them going back and forth. Antonio Banderas... Benicio del Toro gets shot in the mouth.
He does it
by
again.
This kid. He actually goes on to later train him to be the next Sicario. Anyways, movie's okay, guys. Check it out if you want to. I didn't really care for it.
I'm interested in seeing this movie.
World Cup update. The round of 16 is now down to 8. France had this guy, Mbappe, 19 years old, scored 2 goals over Argentina. Second youngest player to ever do that. Belgium crazy comeback against Japan the other day. That was awesome. Guys, Pokemon Go Fest is coming up next weekend. So excited for that. Next week after that is the San Diego Comic-Con. Want to know who you guys would cosplay as if you had to cosplay.
That's a good question.
Get back to you on that one. All right, love the show. See you guys.
Anthony, who would you cosplay as?
Oh, man, putting me on the spot. That's tough.
I'll go first.
I'm not a big cosplay guy. All right,
no, me neither. But I already look like Rocket Raccoon, so I was just gonna pick Rocket Raccoon. That's. I barely have to do anything.
That's already killed it.
I just gotta walk on my knees.
All right, here's one. I mean, this isn't necessarily.
Who could Anthony cosplay as?
I've always wanted to do this. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've wanted to grow my hair out, put on the yellow banana jumpsuit, and be Bruce Lee from.
Oh shit!
I like the that. Dragon.
You could get the wig.
That's a good cosplay.
Yeah.
Which movie was that? And not Enter the Dragon.
Game of Death.
Game of Death. That's like the Kill Bill outfit that she wears too.
That.
Yeah.
I've wanted to be that for Halloween.
You could pull that off. You could get that wig.
Yeah.
You get that fucking jumpsuit and just be like,
and just walk around.
And like flick your nose and wave people over, just bouncing around.
Yeah.
Ruggs. Who would have Felty cosplay as?
Well, after what I saw in The Nation of me and Tyrion Lannister riding around on a square.
Oh, you like that meme? I threw that together. Yes.
I would go as Tyrion Lannister.
Oh, I like that.
Shit. That's very
I would go as the imp.
Oh my God, Rug Boy as Tyrion Lannister is hilarious. Working backwards, Sicario, I've heard a lot about. Directed by Denis Villeneuve, who did the Blade Runner 2049. And I heard it's a fucking great movie. I've never seen it.
The first one?
Yeah.
It is good.
It has,
Great.
That's the, who's the guy in there? He just said his name. I can't. Oh,
Benicio del Toro's in it.
Yes.
Benicio del Toro.
What's her name is in it? Fuck, I can't remember her name. The English broad.
Oh, that one. Kate Winslet?
No. The one that's married from the guy to the guy from The Office.
Oh, Margaret Thatcher.
No.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
She's she's
I want to
Welsh.
say something
She's
else.
Welsh.
Rachel, I don't know.
Rachel Summers. I don't know.
No, I don't even think her name is Rachel.
Anyways, I guess.
Hold on, I'll find out. Emily Blunt.
Let's be blunt. Couple more things, and we're going to wrap it up here. Listener Scott Bick had a great question on our Facebook group, and I'm really curious to your guys' answers. he went to see a movie and snuck in Portillo's. And then he's like,
what's a Portillo?
So will you explain Portillo's, Anthony? It's a very Midwest Chicago
very
thing.
Midwestern thing, but it's basically when it's a chain place in the area. They serve burgers, hot dogs, all that stuff. But they're known for their Italian beef.
It's like every unhealthy Chicago dish in one restaurant.
Right.
Like you could go in there and get Italian beef and milkshakes and cake and cheesecake.
The name is Portillo.
Portillo's.
And you can order what everyone usually orders is an Italian beef, or they order like an Italian beef
and hot
with
dogs.
an Italian sausage in the
What's
Italian
an Italian beef?
Italian beef is
besides my cock.
You don't know you never had Italian beef?
It's sliced meat that's been soaked marinated in like juices, and it's a little bit spicy. You can add hot peppers or sweet peppers.
You put it in a soft roll, you add jardiniere or hot peppers, and then you can dip the whole sandwich. You can get it dry or wet.
Right.
Or a little bit wet, depending. So it's a big sloppy fucking meat sandwich. Invented in Chicago. Has
heart
nothing to
attack,
do. It's
yeah.
fucking delicious though.
And you can add cheese if you want to.
I never had cheese on my Italian beef.
I've never had it either.
It's right up there with a Chicago hot dog, which is
That's because you're not circumcised.
okay. Oh, dick cheese? Yeah, you're right. I never had the dick cheese because I'm.
Man, I wish. Listen, I don't have a writer. I have to make this up and say it at the same time.
Well, look.
So I get my signals crossed.
So he wants to know what's the most amount of food anyone has snuck into a theater. And there were some amazing comments on the Facebook group. Paul Chomo has snuck in Five Guys burgers and fries. Paul and Kate Thiem both done this. Blake Braden has brought in 12-inch footlongs from Subway. I don't know how you get that in. Seth Morgan, a pint of Ben & Jerry's. Jess Rivera, I think, wins this whole game. He fucking snuck in a large deep dish pizza.
Oh, shit.
How the fuck do you get a deep dish pizza into a movie theater? Scott, of course, Chipotle and Portillo's. Adam Morris said, fuck food, we sneak in beers. That's also fun. And then Clay Grove snuck in Chinese and pizza under a trench coat.
Whoa.
Have you guys ever snuck in food?
Oh, yeah. I got a slack hole. I put things in there all the time.
What's the craziest thing? What's the most?
Oh, you know what I do is I go to the gas station, like the convenience store.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to a movie at night, I usually get like a Red Bull or some kind of like highly caffeinated drink that's like super concentrated to keep me up during the movie.
Smart.
And then like all kind of like combos, all that fucking
combos,
shit. Yeah.
Any fucking thing I could shove in my pants.
Like,
It comes in little plastic packages.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a food guy at the theater. Anthony, have you snuck in anything?
I was going to say, when I used to see movies as a child with my aunt, she would bring in like cheese popcorn.
Like under her coat?
It was like in baggies in her purse or whatever.
Okay.
But I am not much of a movie guy. I'm not a movie guy, a food guy during the movies. I don't order food.
Yeah.
I don't order anything to drink because if I drink a Coke,
you get fucking pee every time.
If I drink a beer, it's over.
Yeah, no, I can't do that.
And then as far as food, here's my thought on the food is even when I'm trying to eat food at home and I watch it like something, inevitably when I look down to put the fucking food in my mouth, I'm not paying attention. So I don't
Plus, if you really don't like the sound of people eating, like imagine people eating all that shit around
and you're
you.
sitting in a recliner, so you have no
So
where
it's
are
like
you putting the food?
I got ribs on my chest.
Right.
I'm leaning back. I got a fucking. I'm gonna try to sneak in lobster meal. One of these, maybe a sirloin.
So for me, it's just not my thing.
That's a bad habit. I like to eat while I watch.
Oh.
No, I agree with Anthony. You will miss things because you're looking down and finding I gotta fucking stick this in my mouth. I'm missing something.
I love food. It's just I don't do it during a movie.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. But great. That's some great answers. I'm fucking sneaking into food.
I like popcorn.
How are you bringing a foot long from Subway?
I don't know how you fit. I mean, you could take
It'll
it.
fit in my slack hole.
Oh, it's a big slack hole, right?
Yeah, foot long, no problem.
Oh shit! Unless you fold it in half.
Yeah, you might have to get a little creative with how you stick
And all
it in
this,
there.
I imagine, is better in the wintertime than in the summertime.
Yeah.
Because going to Ant-Man, I thought about this and I was like, I should sneak something in. But I'm like, where the fuck am I going to put it? I'm not wearing a jacket.
See, like, I don't like to put hot food in my slack hole because then it stinks.
Then you got to clean it out.
I only like
too.
to do like dry stuff that you can get like sealed in a bag. It's easy.
You need the slack hole liner to keep everything clean.
Everything is
Dude,
so expensive at movies now.
Yeah.
And when I go to the dry cleaners, they're like, "What the fuck this time?"
Speaking of movie theaters, this last movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, was in Dolby Digital.
Okay.
And the sound was like
amazing.
Fucking unreal.
Like all around you?
It was
behind
all
you?
around and it was like shaking my fucking seats.
Wow.
You know, that's those seats have vibrators.
Oh, okay. Well, that was amazing. But the other thing is I ordered these tickets online.
Yeah.
And there was like an option. They're like, do you want to order food? And you can order food online, pre-order it.
Really?
But here's the crazy part. Maybe this isn't that crazy because
they bring it to you?
you can have it delivered while you're in the theater.
That's dope.
While you're, and you can
that.
set the time when you want it to be delivered. You can't have it delivered like in the middle of fucking movie, but you can do like 10 minutes before, 5 minutes before
the movie
or
starts.
5 minutes after,
or after. Oh,
after
wow.
like the 7 o'clock start. So because it's still gonna be the previews.
Okay,
but you can have them delivered. And there's someone next to me that got food delivered.
What chain is this?
It was AMC.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And there was like flatbreads and shit. Like,
damn,
some good stuff.
You know, the one thing I want, and only the one independent theater in Lincoln Square where I used to live, the Davis, does this. Fuck it, I just want a cup of coffee. In fact, they would make it and bring it to me if it wasn't made. Like, why can't I get a fucking cup of coffee brought to me in the theater? Actually,
I still haven't done the dinner in a movie thing where you can eat
at the
dinner.
Movico.
Yeah.
I've done it. I don't
You like it?
Nah, because like the food sucks.
It's distracting.
Yeah.
It's distracting. You got people coming in and out.
They're not giving you good food.
For fuck's sake, you're amateur.
I'd rather just sneak it out and just be like,
Yeah,
oh, fucking, you know.
It's
sneaky
more
and
fun when you sneak it in. I think it tastes better too.
Yeah.
Well, it is, because you're bringing in the food you want.
I got to shout out another podcast called Nerds from Nowhere. They posted on, I'm in these podcast Facebook groups, and they do podcast spotlights, and they're like, hey, we're looking for podcasts. I posted our podcast, and on episode 12, they did a podcast spotlight on us, and they were very complimentary, guys. Thank you very much. I loved it. I'll put a link in the show notes so you can check out their show, but shout out and thank you to Nerds from Nowhere podcast. Basically,
what a great review.
Basically, they didn't understand who Rug Boy was, and they're like, how the fuck does Imran have energy for an hour and a half? What is he on?
Yeah, they kept thinking that
white powder.
Lots of crack, people.
They thought that Rug Boy was someone that we're a voice, like
A lot-
bit we're
like
doing.
one of
No,
that-
they think that like you record this show and then you go back and you do Rug
And I
Boy on
cut
top
you in.
of the show.
You know how hard that would fucking be
That's
to do?
impossible.
That's totally impossible. I love that people can't figure it out, though. That is the best thing. Rug Boy is a
They have to look just like they suspend disbelief with everything else. They just I'm a real puppet.
Listen, you
question Kermit the Frog.
You buy the Jurassic World people going back to the island 5 times. Just buy it. He's a fucking felty American. He's a sentient, independent felty.
That's right.
And then not to end the note on a sad note, but I'm going to do it. This is a little bit of a bummer. It just got put out today. Steve Ditko, dead at age 90. Oh, shit.
Well, it's not sad.
It's not sad. He's 90. And he actually died June 29th. And the story just came out today. So, look, his legacy, of course, if you don't know Steve Ditko, co-creator of Spider-Man with Stan Lee, created Doctor Strange and a bunch of other things.
All of Spider-Man's bad guys.
He created the look of Spider-Man. And as we know, if you know anything about how Stan Lee worked with his artists, the artist did a lot of heavy lifting on these books.
That's right.
There's a lot of Steve Ditko in the first 40 issues of Spider-Man. And just like Kirby, he was driven away. And this guy really didn't profit from his work. He didn't retain any of the rights.
Yeah.
He was a recluse. He wouldn't talk to anyone.
He was done with it.
He was totally done. In fact, there's a documentary about a guy trying to make a documentary about Steve Ditko. And the whole documentary is him not being able to get in touch with Steve Ditko because he doesn't want to fucking talk to anybody.
Right.
But look, Steve, his legacy and his artwork, he created my favorite character ever. So, and it's not sad. He lived but fucking Stan Lee outlived all these motherfuckers. Think about that. Oh, he's like the Keith Richards. Holy shit.
The thing that's sad about it is that everybody knew that he was like this genius, and he just was like hiding from everyone. Maybe had a really big axe to grind, or maybe was really hurt by the industry.
Yeah.
And that's sad that he kind of like ended up being penniless or penisless.
Yeah, I mean, similar. Bill Finger went through the same thing. Got no credit for Batman. Died literally penniless in a room alone. Nobody knowing who he is. At least Steve Ditko, they put Stan Lee co-created.
Was he survived by anyone?
You know what? I don't know. It doesn't say in the article. He had a weird, he was an obstructivist. Was that the religion? It was like the Ayn Rand thing. He was 90, found in his apartment in Manhattan, June 29th. I don't think he was survived by anyone. I don't know.
They didn't name any survivors.
No.
I'm just looking at Rug Boy's Twitter feud.
Very sad. All right, well, let's get to that. Rest in peace, Steve Ditko.
R.I.P. Steve Ditko.
R.I.P. Steve Ditko. Ruggs, where can the listener find you, and what the fuck is going on?
Well, you can find me on the Jock and Nerd Nation,
Yes.
where I post every once in a while, and you can find me if you want to be entertained.
Yes.
You can just read my Twitter feed at Really Rug Boy
That's
on Twitter.
really
because,
Rug Boy. What's going on there?
I don't know. Sometimes I get bored.
Okay.
And like I find like different people posting things, and I just like feel like I could just make one little suggestion and it'll like light the internet on fire, and it will. Usually what I do is the easiest target is people who like The Last Jedi and are really butthurt that people don't like that movie. So what they do is they just call you some kind of a racist or some kind of an asshole or toxic fan when you just simply don't like the movie and think they could have made better choices.
Yes.
So like you can't, with these people, you can't
argue with them, can you?
You can't say that there's a standard that we have in movies. You can't say that there's bad acting. Like to them, there's no such thing. There's like somebody made a comparison like you don't go to watch The Room for good acting.
Right.
Like, well, this is Star Wars.
Yeah.
This is not The Room. I'm not going to see a shitty movie that I know is going to have shitty acting in it so I can laugh at it. I'm going to see like an icon of sci-fi adventure and fantasy, and I want to be immersed in that fantasy and not be reminded of the Earth that I'm from in that fantasy.
Yes, topical Earth humor should not be in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, so like making those observations.
Oh,
like,
Chris Hicks, huh? What do you think about Chris Hicks, Ruggs?
Well, I don't know. I just don't understand their logic. Their logic doesn't make sense. I'm not trying to insult them, but they're like, because I liked it. Like, I like Jar Jar Binks. That was like the thing. I like Jar Jar Binks. I'm like, well, Jar Jar Binks, number one, is kind of racist. So you're calling me a racist, but you like Jar Jar Binks.
Was for kids. They needed something funny in the movies for the kids.
And then they're like, well, that guy who played Jar Jar Binks,
he almost killed himself. I did not know that.
Yeah, but like anybody who sucks at something that gets like if you're a pitcher and you fucking suck,
yeah, and people
are gonna throw shit at you. They're gonna spit on you.
But it wasn't the actor's fault that he was getting all this shit. Is the thing.
Well, it's not his fault.
Yeah.
And they're right about that. And like Hayden Christensen, it was his fault. He sucked as an actor.
Yes, that is his fault.
All right. The little boy, Jake Lloyd. All right. Now, he's kind of like, number one, I have two ways of thinking about it. He's a little kid, but so are a lot of great little kid actors.
Yeah.
Haley Joel Osment, Anna Paquin.
Yep.
I mean, the list goes
Kirsten
on.
Dunst. We forget how good Kirsten Dunst was.
Yeah, and they were all like in a similar
Macaulay
age.
Culkin.
Macaulay's great.
All right, so this
Macaulay.
kid doesn't get a pass because he was a kid actor.
Right.
It's whose fault is it ultimately? It's George Lucas's fault because you have to know how to direct around that stuff. All right, you have a kid that like when we were talking about Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah,
I saw that girl who played young Dagger wasn't really emoting properly.
Right.
That's the director's fault.
That is the director's fault. Same thing.
He should cut around it, figure out how to get the reaction that he wants. And then, so a lot of this is Lucas's fault, but maybe the kid shouldn't have gotten the flack for that stuff. But I don't know. I think that if you do something and people don't like it, you can't expect them to like think and put it in. They don't think that. A lot of people are dumb and they don't think that far ahead and go, oh, it's George Lucas's fault that he sucked. Because you have like Ewan McGregor who knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and he's great.
You have Liam Neeson doing a great job.
Yeah.
So you're like, how come he's good and this? So like, you're expecting people to be smart about these things. So whatever. So the point is that I'm arguing with these guys about like, if there should be a standard of good that we should expect from a movie. And they're saying no.
No.
As long as they like it, it's fine.
As long as a little bit of people, some people like it, they're entitled to like it.
As long as 10% of people like it.
And you can't argue that.
Yes, you can't say shit.
Am I saying like outrageous things? I'm just trying to be logical here. I'm not even trying to be a troll.
I understand your point.
It's just the Star Wars fandom thing is so
But I don't
crazy.
let them off the hook. That's the thing. Whenever you go and tune into a Rug Boy Twitter battle, I'm never gonna just surrender. If I have the point, I'm not gonna just be like, okay, you're right. No, I'm just gonna keep repeating myself until they just wear themselves out.
This is why you want to follow @ReallyRugBoy on Twitter, because every week it is an entertaining fucking thing going on over there.
But isn't it weird how you get lumped into toxic fandom when you just have an opinion on something?
Yes, but the state of this fandom.
I didn't go and harass anyone.
No.
I just said the movie sucked on my podcast. If anybody ever asked me,
and you have every right to say that. That's your opinion.
Yes.
What's the problem? Now, the fans have caused a lot of damage, like forcing Lucas to just like stop making movies and driving people off Instagram and Twitter.
But
they're
now
being
I'm scared
harassed.
because you got people like Bob Chipman, Movie Bob.
Yeah.
He's on Twitter today talking to Angry Joe, who was another YouTube star, telling him, you know, you might want to slow down with saying that Star Wars sucks because you don't want to be on the wrong side of this. I'm like, all right, you just completely compromised your integrity there because you're worried about what side you're going to be on.
What does that mean? What side do you want to be on? Why?
You're like,
What's the wrong side?
They're like in a few years, you're going to look back on this and go, oh, I was on the wrong side of that. Of thinking a movie sucks because something doesn't work in the movie. I don't understand how that could ever be wrong. So, I don't know. So even Bob Chipman is now kind of like, wow, he's on board with this thing. I think all of these people are so worried about the angry mob coming after them that they're just kind of placating everybody and telling everybody to be calm and let things slide.
Is it really that big of a fucking thing, people? Just relax.
No.
Everyone.
No, it's because people are making it a huge deal.
They are. They'll figure it out. They'll maybe fire Kathleen Kennedy or whatever. Who cares?
Just talked about Ant-Man, a movie that I enjoyed watching, but pointed out all the flaws in.
Yes.
That's what we do.
This is an MCU movie. It's not one of their best, but it's still fun, and it maybe not as good as the first one, but this is called critical thinking, people, and criticism. Everyone relax. Put your tweets
All I
away.
gotta say is, if someone liked it, it is immune from criticism.
What? All it takes is one person. The room is a masterpiece. Shut your dirty whore mouth. Oh, shit. No.
It reminds me
You're tearing me apart.
It reminded me of Kevin Halden's stupid ass argument. Kevin Halden,
About
by
BVS?
the way, BVS, where he's like, you can't criticize Justice League because you haven't seen it. I'm like, yeah, you can.
Yeah, we know.
We
what's
saw
gonna
BVS.
happen. Yes,
we know who's making the same fucking film.
Yeah,
we can have our preconceived notions of how this is going to go.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's easy to connect the dots there.
Right.
There's nothing.
If someone likes Batman versus Superman, is that going to make it a good movie?
No. Same thing with Last Jedi.
Somebody likes it.
Well.
Somebody likes eating their boogers. Does that mean that everybody should like eating their boogers?
Depends on the person's diet. Sometimes you get a little extra hit of protein that way.
Yeah.
And also, at the end of the day, like if you can like Batman versus Superman, you can like The Last Jedi. That's fine. But history will go down and look at these films and go, yeah, these movies were bad because things changed after these movies.
When do they ever come around the other way where that was a good movie?
Right.
Yeah.
We just didn't know
if this was a good movie, Star Wars wouldn't be rethinking their entire business strategy right now. Like there's not enough people that like this and support this enough where they're not continuing on with their game plan.
Well, and then there's the whole thing of like, did you boycott Solo and now it made no money? So what good is that doing anyone? You're just fucking yourself. Just fucking go support your thing.
But my point is, when you look back at like these movies, like Last Jedi, like
I gotta watch that again. By the way, I'm sure it's gonna be still dumb.
These movies
on Netflix.
These movies are gonna be looked back at as like movies where like that's the fork in the road.
Yeah,
and
BVS definitely was the fork in the road.
And now these movies, like they had to change things because these movies went the wrong direction.
The BVS of
there's
the franchise.
two schools of way of thinking about this.
Yeah.
Number one, if they figure out a way to polish the turd in the third movie and like set things right,
They could save it.
They could save it. So in like 20 years, when all of this is forgotten about, there's all this drama,
right?
People might look back on it differently. Or if this movie, that next movie comes out, still doubles down on all that stuff and people really abandon it, then you're gonna see it as looked at as the worst movie ever, like Batman versus Batman and Robin.
Right.
Like that was a kids movie.
Yeah.
Someone tried to justify this like the prequels because they got their kids into Star Wars. I'm like, well, Batman and Robin was for kids. If I would never show that movie to a kid.
No, it's insulting.
It's horrible.
It's insulting.
The kid will like slap me after he watched it. Said, "Why did you make me watch
that's a good example too. Like Batman and Robin. I'm sure there's people out there that are like, that's a good movie.
Because if you grew up with that movie when you were a certain age,
It doesn't matter. You can you can just have a bad sense of taste.
Okay, that's true.
But history remembers Batman and Robin as the point when they had to stop making Batman films.
Killed
like
the
that.
franchise for a long
So
time.
regardless of you liked it or not, you have to acknowledge the fact that this movie killed the franchise.
Star Wars.
That's just how it played out.
And another thing is that the argument is that it's art and it's subjective. It's not art. It's a product. It's being made for a consumption.
Yeah. Right.
It's not sitting there Ryan Johnson just expressing himself. And if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. It's all of these fucking people, studios and heads of studios and directors and pre-visual people sitting there trying to think of how can we get the most people to go see this fucking movie and like it.
That's sad because the first original trilogy
there has to be a standard.
Right. That I hate that argument too, and I'm building on your point, Ruggs, in that this is art, so you can't really have an opinion on it. Art, if it's just art for art's sake, it's sitting on a fucking wall with no money to be made. People are just walking by and looking at, oh, that's art. This movie is being made so
This is a commodity.
This is being made. This is a commodity. This is a product being made to take money from you.
Yeah.
Yes, some guy sitting online for 2 days with tickets and, to see this movie.
Right.
When he goes and sits down and that movie is subpar, he's going to be more than pissed.
And I think this is where, like, the old school fans, I kind of see some of their point, because the original trilogy was art. This shit had never been done before. Lucas is inventing these techniques. Like, that is a gorgeous movie.
Let me
matte
counter.
paintings is
let me
art.
counter,
The whole thing is art.
Let me counter that. It might be art, but even that first film, if there's not enough people that buy that art, those other films don't get made.
making a second one.
So even if there's some thought when every time you make a film, there is some sort of thought of how am I going to get people to see this?
Yeah.
It all depends on the amount of money invested in the movie. If you're like Sean Christensen and you're making a short film that's 15 minutes long and you're paying for it yourself,
That can be art.
It can be art.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get some motherfucker to cut you a check, it's no longer art anymore.
You got producers and studios.
When you've got a
It's
marketing
commercial
team.
art. As soon as
It's
someone
commercial
else,
art, but I think there can be there's a balance where you can make it commercially successful and still have artistic integrity.
but it's still a product.
It is
Those
it's a
products-
product.
For example, if some motherfucker comes up to you, Imran,
Yeah.
and says, I need an illustration, and you just take your dick and stick it in some ink and slap it on the page and give it to the guy, he's going to be like, that's not what I paid for.
Right.
That's not.
There's
That's
a
what you asked for,
standard.
though.
I need an illustration that I can see what the fuck I'm talking about.
I see what you're saying, and that illustration is a commercial product. You have a client to make happy. You have a problem to solve and something to communicate.
Well, I think the argument is it's not that it's not art. It's when
it's more
when you're pleasing, when there is a constituency to be pleased, then you are not absolved from criticism.
Right.
Right.
That is the argument.
Yeah.
Because the main argument is it's art. I'm allowed to have this opinion. You're not allowed to have an opinion on art. It's art.
And art, no art exists in a vacuum.
Right.
Yes, and no one's saying that you should ever fucking berate anybody that's an actor or whatever. If they're in a part that you don't like, it's actually the studio and the director and the producers that you should blame. But you're putting yourself in the public spectrum, and you can't expect people to be able to discern who to insult. They're just gonna look at you and blame you for some reason. It's not like it's the smart thing to do, and I don't applaud it. I think it's disgusting that people do
That's
that.
horrible.
Go on people's Twitters and fucking douche. I would never do that. The only person I insult directly is Dan Slott, right? And that guy
He deserves it.
No, I mean, like, whatever. He's a grown man.
Yeah, he could take it.
And if he has anything to say about it,
I just think it's so funny.
I'm the only one doing it too. It's not like it's a whole brigade of people.
Yeah, no one will ever jump on the Dan Slott hate
I'm like
bandwagon.
shouting into a
Avoid.
large chasm and no one's hearing.
I just think it's funny you can't point out a movie doesn't work and people just get all bent out of shape because you're like, look, it doesn't work.
Because everything is polarized in this country now. Like it's like all about us versus them. It's not about let's be practical and like look at this and say, okay, yeah, I can see your point. It's not what it's supposed to be. Well, who are you to say what it's supposed to be? Well, obviously, if everybody feels this way, we must be talking about the same thing here.
Yeah.
Well, it's more the I think it's the fact of if I like something, there's this feel on the internet with geekdom, nerddom, whatever the fuck it's called, where if I like something and you criticize it, you can't do that because I like it.
Don't talk to me. You're wrong.
Don't tell me I don't like.
Your
Don't tell me.
opinion-
Don't point out the flaws in this. I like it.
How did this happen? I think it started with BVS.
Well, no, that's not. It didn't start with BVS.
No,
But BVS is a big point in that. It's just people are not willing to have any sort of conversation about anything.
Well, it's the social media allows, which I've taken that platform and used it.
Turn it around.
Allows people to argue with people, and that's what people do. They need to sit there and be heard and sit there and point out the finger that everybody else sucks and not them.
The other part that's shitty about this, we've gone off on a diatribe.
Boy, the end of this show's gone off the rails.
The other part that sucks about this is when you have people that are obviously defending bad shit and are not willing to acknowledge that the points you are making are valid because it is actually bad.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's because Martha. No, it's not. You're missing the whole
mental
point.
gymnastics they have to do to try and find the one example of something.
And then go back. How did it get this way? It's so weird. It's the internet. It's clearly the internet, is how it got this way. But look.
It's the internet. It's everyone being able to... Everyone has...
everyone's opinion is weighted all equally now.
Right. Everyone has the option of giving their opinion, and they're able to give their opinion, but they can't eloquently put out their opinion because the internet limits you to an X amount of letters.
Yep.
But what happens on this show? All right, Imran has an opinion. You have an opinion. I have. They're all not the same exact opinion.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
We're fine.
Sometimes we clash. Sometimes we disagree with one another. But you know what? Most of the time we hear each other out, and we're willing to give somebody. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
That makes sense. And if you make a point, and I go, "Oh, I didn't think of that before," I'll say it.
Right.
It doesn't make me less of a person for realizing something, learning something.
That's one of the biggest things. Is my opinion on this movie is the opinion I have right now.
And that will change.
But it can change based on any conversation I have at any time or any thought I put into this.
And with time, you get older, the movie gets older.
You could ask me my opinion on this movie in a couple months and I might have something different for you. I doubt I will.
Or like 10 years you look back and this could be a whole different thing.
But your opinion should be able to change based on new facts, new information,
There's
new perspectives.
nothing wrong. Yes. It's not, none of these are locked in like this is what you said.
Rug Boy could point out something, I'll be like, shit.
Yeah.
That movie does suck.
You turned both of us on Jurassic World.
Yeah, I made you guys hate Jurassic World more.
You know what? He's right. This is a really dumb movie.
Right.
So
Rug Boy's convinced me that Spider-Man Homecoming isn't that great.
Yeah. My thing is you always got to put yourself in other people's shoes. I always try to see how the other person, where they're coming from, try to relate to that, see where their reasoning is. But nobody on the internet wants to do that, clearly. It's my way or the fucking highway. I'm banning you. All of this is just to promote Rug Boy's Twitter. Really, Rug Boy, we went off the rails. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Listener, make sure you subscribe to the show so you get all this random fucking silliness right to you. You never miss a show. And of course, tell a friend. Spread the geekery. Thank you for listening. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time, yo.
Yeah, like that last Twitter thing, we padded out the show.
We needed
added more padding.
It was filler. It was more pushing for the cushion. Oh, the other way around.
We needed a 2-hour show somehow.
Yeah. Wowie zowie!